tomorrow. Memories and hope. Make it count. A bowl game is more than just a game. The reasons are many.
Because it's fun to throw the ball 50 times a game.
Because it's my last game with David Pollock.
Because it's my last game with my best friend.
Because Alabama can't hit what they can't catch.
Because we want to show the world we still have it.
For all the work, a rite of passage. A ritual for ringing in the new year by rising to the occasion. Welcome, everybody, to an American holiday tradition.
And welcome, everyone, to Raymond James Stadium, the backdrop for today's 18th edition of the Outback Bowl. Out of the SEC, it's Georgia, and out of the Big Ten, it's the Wisconsin Badgers. Georgia behind the unquestioned leadership of head coach Mark Richt in his 4th season. And Wisconsin led by Erasmus James, the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And the irrepressible David Pollock, the Lombardi winner for Georgia. 2 defenders bringing bad intent. The news continues from down there, Reese. We're back here at Raymond James Stadium, the 18th edition of the Outback Bowl. It's Wisconsin against Georgia. A couple of teams with very zealous followers because they are indeed 2 of the preeminent football programs in America. Georgia and Wisconsin both coming in at 9-2. They have made the trek from all points, from Wisconsin to Georgia, one of the jewels of the South, from the heartland of America, converging on Tampa. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones, along with Bob Davie. From all of us at ESPN to all of you at home, all the best in 2005. Bob, today, 2 defenses that rank in the top 15 in total defense, led by 2 defensive stalwarts.
You're right, Mark. First of all, no player can disrupt an offense more than a great defensive end. I know you like me to go out on the limb and make strong statements, right?
Oh, go ahead.
In this game today, we have the best 2 defensive ends in all of college football. For Georgia, David Pollock, their most publicized and heralded player since Herschel Walker. He won this year's Lombardi Trophy. The best way to describe him is relentless. He gives great effort on every play. For Wisconsin, Erasmus James is a great story. Because of a hip injury, this time a year ago, people didn't even know if he'd play football again. Now he's the best pass rusher in college football and a definite first-round draft choices. Mark, these offenses better account for these defensive ends every play, or they will wreak havoc today.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball on offense, let's go get some from Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, for Wisconsin, they have a key component back on their offense. Anthony Davis, about as healthy as he's been all season. And Barry Alvarez says that is a key because without him, they sputter. In 7 games with Davis this season, they average 25 points a game. The 4 games without him, they average half of that at just 12. So they are excited to have him back and see what he can provide, what spark he can provide for their offense. Now, Anthony is a very quiet, not demonstrative kid at all. In pregame warm-ups out here, guys, he was bouncing around, putting his arms up, getting the crowd involved. It's as excited as I've seen Anthony Davis. He looks like he is ready to play for the Badgers. Mark?
And that's a good sign for the Wisconsin Badgers, Holly.
And Mark, that is key because Wisconsin has to throw the football when they want to throw the football, not when they have to throw the football. And for that to take place, Anthony Davis has to be healthy and run the football today.
Anthony Davis, as Holly just chronicled, missed several games this year. And Barry Alvarez glad to have him back. Alvarez, the winningest coach in school history, looking for his 3rd 10-win season. In his 15th year overall at Wisconsin and Madison, and Mark Richt in his 4th year at the helm at Georgia. Florida State's former offensive coordinator, having tremendous success at Georgia. And his team hoping to put together a solid performance to put a punctuation mark on a perhaps 10-2 season. He's looking for his 3rd consecutive 10-win year.
And Mark, an interesting point. We have ACC officials today led by referee Jack Childress. This same crew had Wisconsin-Auburn last year in the Music City Bowl, and several controversial calls in that game that really hurt Wisconsin. The first time since last year in that Music City Bowl game, Barry Alvarez had a chance to visit with Jack Childress, the referee, today before the game. It'll be interesting to see if that's any factor as this game progresses.
Well, this isn't a Big Ten conference game, so there will be no instant replay in this one. Wisconsin winning the toss, deferring to the second half. The Bulldogs electing they will receive. And back deep, it's Tyson Browning right there, number 31. Brian McClendon joining him. And DeBush, meanwhile, kicking off for the Badgers. Taylor Melhoff there, though performing the duties. A couple of teams with a lot to prove today. Melhoff's kick comes down rather shallow at the 12-yard line. Turned out to the 18-yard line. Hampton making the stop, and that's where Georgia will take over. The starting quarterback is David Green, the 6'3" senior, the winningest quarterback in NCAA history. He has passed Peyton Manning's record, did that earlier this year. Time now for the United States Marine Corps starting lineups. Some great skill players. The freshman Thomas Brown, one of the key players today for the Bulldogs.
Keep an eye on the tight end Leonard Pope, number 81, 6'8", and runs a 4.5 40.
Very big, talented offensive line, and Erasmus James moving prematurely. Doesn't matter. This pass complete to Pope. The player mentioned just seconds ago there's a flag down in the play, but this appears to be premature movement and offside on Erasmus James. Pope is a stud at 6'7", 255, a 31-yard pickup.
And you mentioned an experienced quarterback in David Green. He does an unbelievable job with the cadence and draws Erasmus James off sides. Cadence in this football game is critical because this defensive end, Erasmus James, I think is the best speed rusher in college football. All four of these defensive linemen, Mark, for Wisconsin, will play in the NFL. And the freshman Andy Crooks gets the start at middle linebacker.
Jim Leonard, a stellar performer there at free safety, an All-American candidate for the Badgers. First down and 10 after the first play of the ball game. Green to left, he's slinging again. This pass going to be complete to Reggie Brown, still on his feet. Going to be interesting to see where they mark the forward progress. And it's going to be marked at about midfield, the 50-yard line. With that previous pass, David Green now becoming the SEC's leader in total offense, surpassing Peyton Manning.
And you see David Green at 225 pounds, big, strong left-hander, throws the football in there, and Reggie Brown just trying for extra yardage, loses yardage.
Green with his first incompletion, that intended for Freddie Gibson, who slipped and fell on the play. It'll be third down and about 10 to go now for the Bulldogs. Gibson, another tall receiver, speed receiver for the Bulldogs, former basketball player.
Mark, we talked about the cadence of the quarterback, David Green. I think that is critical in this football game to keep that defensive line of Wisconsin off balance and not get a bead on the snap count. Much more difficult to do it when you're in the shotgun formation rather than under center, though.
We'll see during the course of the game whether James and his guys up front can get a read on that cadence. Handoff is to Brown. Brown, the freshman, has the first down at the 37-yard line. Tackled finally by Jim Leonard, but he picked up 13 yards first. Brown and Ware, as freshman, picked up over 1,300 yards this year.
We talked about cadence. Also, the draw slows down the pass rush. And the true freshman, Thomas Brown, on 3rd and 10, keeps the Wisconsin defense off balance, doesn't allow them to rush the passer. Great call right there by Mark Rick.
Rick calling all the plays. They hand it off to Brown again. Finds a nice hole up the middle. Now the 30-yard line. Got about 7 or 8 on that play. It'll be second down and about 3 to go for Georgia. Georgia out of the SEC. Just 2 losses this year. One of them coming midway through the season against Tennessee. And they seem to really get their legs back after that and go on to have a very, very good season for them. Danny Ware now in at tailback. Keep an eye on Ware. He's wearing a cast on his right hand. And bothered by various injuries throughout the last half of the season. Green to pass. Finds Pope once again. And Pope has a first down at the 16 of Wisconsin. They picked up 14 that time.
Georgia has a great tradition of big-time tight ends. This young guy, sophomore Leonard Pope, may be the best to ever play at Georgia. Keep in mind, this is 6'8". He runs a 4.5, only caught one pass last year as a freshman. Again, we see the cadence of David Green. Interesting watching tape. They drew Georgia Tech offsides 3 times in their last football game in the first quarter.
Wow.
So Wisconsin knew this was coming.
By contact. Number 92 of the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
That's Jonathan Welsh, number 92, the senior for Wisconsin. They got 4 seniors up front. There was Welsh moving a little bit early. And this defensive front has something to prove after the way that they ended the last 2 games of the regular season.
Keep in mind, Wisconsin has not played a football game in 6 weeks. Georgia has not played in 5 weeks.
Green hands it off. Down to the 8-yard line, that was Danny Weir. So missed a little bit of time with various injuries the last 3 games, actually. The knee was one of those bothers. He also had a bruised left lung earlier this year.
And what's great for me, this football game is all about the players on the field and the teams on the field. One of the few bowl games, Mark, it seems, where we don't have lame duck coaches coaching in these games.
Nice to see, frankly. 2nd down and 3. Working out of the shotgun this time. Get off to Weir making a couple guys miss. Making it down to the 6-yard line. A missed tackle by Erasmus James earlier.
But doesn't it seem to you like this bowl season has been filled with either controversies, as in the Ohio State game, or lame duck coaches? Utah, Pittsburgh, Florida, LSU, Miami of Ohio, Notre Dame. I've never heard anything like that.
Nice.
Very stable programs here, Wisconsin and Georgia.
Yeah, Mark Richt has been very successful in his 4-year tenure at Georgia. The former offensive coordinator at Florida State. He says that this team has been special in the sense that they've done everything that they've asked them as a coaching staff to do and bounced back from the 2 disappointments very well. Had a lot of continuity on staff too. Only had 1 coach leave during his 4-year tenure so far. 1st and goal coming up for Georgia.
A lot of people say Erasmus James will be a top 10 draft pick. You see him right there, quickness, beating the tight end inside. This is a remarkable story that we'll get into a little bit later. A year ago, most people, including Erasmus, thought he would never play football again because of a hip injury.
Great comeback stories this year in college football. 1st down and goal for the Bulldogs, working out of the eye. To the fullback that time, Des Williams, and Williams stopped up right at the line of scrimmage. For more on Erasmus James, let's go to Holly.
Well, guys, many people were questioning when he came into this game if Erasmus James would really play all out. You know, these guys are going pro. They have a lot of money on the line and might not want to get injured. How hard would they play? Well, I think Erasmus James has answered that here early. Already eager to get off the ball. He was the first one off the line, got a penalty early, and he has been ferocious. Guys, you got to respect him that he's not worried about his dollars. He's worried about going out with some pride.
Playing hard so far. That time, Weir making it down to the 3-yard line. Jim Leonard, the All-American free safety, making the stop on the play. 3rd and goal.
An interesting Danny Weir, who, as you mentioned, broke his hand in the Georgia Tech game, actually playing with a cast today, and has fumbled the football. Had 4 fumbles during the season. Mark Richt showing a lot of confidence, though, giving him the ball. He's a freshman running back as well.
11th play of the Bulldog opening drive of the game. 2 tight ends, Milner and Pope. Brown back in the ball game at tailback. Now Pope splitting out to his right. On the pitch to Pope, nothing doing. The Badger defense resilient in the red zone. Scott Starks, who you would think would be mismatched just at 5'10" against the 6'7" Pope, makes it 4th down and goal.
When Scott Starks did exactly what you have to do if there's that kind of mismatch. Just jam him right there. Don't hold him. And really, Leonard Pope, no opportunity. And Mark, here's a story in this football game. Brandon Kutu, the kicker, only 1 field goal all year. He hit a 44-yarder against Georgia Tech in their last football game, but only his 2nd field goal of his career.
That was a perfect 1-for-1 so far. Make that 2 for 2. That one coming from 20 yards out. Mark Richt looking for his third consecutive 10-win season with a victory today. An auspicious beginning for the Bulldogs when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to Raymond James Stadium. Number 7 Georgia leading number 16 Wisconsin 3-0. And take a look at this field goal. Innovative technology from the company that brought you K-Zone to baseball coverage on ESPN. And the 1st and 10 line in football tracks data from 2 different cameras to show exactly where the kick crosses. That one was exactly 5 feet, according to Kick Track, inside the upright. Would have been good, we're told by Kick Track, from about 45 yards out.
That's a great device. Just don't let the kicker see that. They have enough things on their mind as it is. I mean, those guys.
He just said, hey, that'd have been good from 50. What are you talking about?
Sometimes the less they know, the better.
See if the Badgers here can answer that opening scoring drive. Brandon Williams on the return for the Badgers, stopped up immediately, shy of the 20-yard line by number 30, Kellen Johnson. John Stocco, first-year starting quarterback for the Wisconsin Badgers, threw 8 touchdowns against 7 interceptions this year. He's out of Richfield, Minnesota. Has really come a long way in terms of his leadership skills. Today's starting lineup presented by the United States Marine Corps. Anthony Davis, the big story in the backfield. How healthy is he, and can he get it done today?
Anthony Davis' success hinges on this offensive line. They are completely healthy. I think one of the best run-blocking groups in all of college football.
Morgan Davis getting to start at that tackle spot. He's going to be matched up against Pollock a lot today. Here's Davis right between the tackles and looking good on his first run out to the 25-yard line. Got about 7. It'll be 2nd down and 3. Let's take a look at the defensive front for the Bulldogs. David Pollock, the leader up there. The 3-time All-American, had 9.5 sacks this season.
And David Pollock is fun to watch. This middle linebacker, Odell Thurman, is like a tailback play in middle linebacker. In this secondary led by Thomas Davis. He is a first-round pick. Some people say he may come out after this football game. He's only a junior.
2nd down and about 4 to go. It's Davis again. And Davis got drilled at the 23-yard line. Jarvis Jackson jacked him up.
Talk about form tackle. You cannot ask for a better form tackle than this right here. Right there, he is going to square Anthony Davis up and flat take him back. Jarvis Jackson getting the start today.
So that's the type of hit that'll rattle your fillings a little bit. It's now a 3rd down and 5. Little bunch formation for Wisconsin. Daniels now splits out wide. Stocco has time. Darren Charles with the reception in the 1st down at the 36-yard line. John Stocco looking poised as Darren Charles beat Demario Minter on the play. It'll be 1st and 10.
And Darren Charles at 6'6" really has become the go-to receiver late in this season. That time they bring him on the crossing route. Watch him come all the way across the field. Right here, it's man-to-man coverage. The receiver has the advantage. Demario the Minter, the corner, cannot catch up. And a great catch right there by the long-armed Darren Charles.
Little play fake to Davis. Stocco going up top. Has Charles and overshot him. Darren Charles was open in behind Minter again. He wishes he could have that one back, Bob.
Wisconsin's coaches thought Georgia had one vulnerable area defensively, and that is their corners. They thought Tennessee exposed the corners in Tennessee's win in Athens, and they want to try to get that football down the field. But a key to getting that football down the field, this may sound crazy, is the ability to stay in rhythm by being able to run the football first and then throwing off play action.
That means Anthony Davis, of course, and 2nd down and 10 here. And Davis again. His 3rd carry of the ball game. Just beyond the 40-yard line, Odell Thurman with the hit on the play. Anthony Davis missed the better part of 4 games this year. Beginning of the season, Bob, he was frankly a Heisman Trophy candidate. First game of the year against Central Florida, had the fractured orbital bone. Never was quite the same after that. Then late in the season, suffered from a leg injury, especially that game against Iowa, particularly frustrating for him and the entire offense.
No question. And because they lost that game to Iowa, if they would have won, they would have gone to the Rose Bowl and represented the Big Ten. Anthony Davis took a lot of heat, kind of some quiet whispers around the Madison community and campus that he didn't play and should have played. But he was injured in that football game and really couldn't play. But anytime you don't win and your star player is standing over there on the sidelines, human nature, people are going to start to whisper about his toughness.
Yeah, fair or not.
Prior to the snap, that was a false start. 72 of the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. It's still third down.
We're talking about with and without Anthony Davis. With him, the Badgers very productive offensively, averaging about 26 a game. Without him, just 12.5 points a game. So Barry Alvarez glad to have his stud tailback back in the lineup today.
And right now, it's fun to just flat put a camera on David Pollock, number 47. He will jump off that football, and the snap count and cadence is a factor right here. Here he is at the top of the field. This guy is quick.
Stocco had time and overthrew Charles again. For the second consecutive time, it'll be 4th down for Wisconsin. They'll punt.
And John Stocco, frankly, did not play very well against Iowa in their last football game. 2 interceptions. You can see a little bit of frustration early in this football game already. Not much confidence.
Wow, look at the way Pollock threw over Morgan Davis.
And you notice getting the guard out there, Clinkscale, helping Morgan Davis in protection. But getting back to my point, John Stocco, the quarterback, already looks a little rattled to me.
Boy, what a great kick here by Ken DeBush. Fielded and brought down immediately. Scott Starks making a great tackle on special teams at the 17-yard line after the 51-yard punt. Just underway here in Tampa. The Bulldogs with a 3-0 lead when we come back.
Ford Super Duty. Tougher, stronger, smarter. And Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Well, speaking of Mark Richt, the head coach of Georgia before the game, he said, if we come out and play the way we're supposed to, we'll be okay. But he wasn't quite sure whether the guys would quite be up to motivational snuff. So far, early indications are that they are. 1st down and 10 for Georgia at the 15-yard line. Green to pass. Completes it to Thomas Brown. And Brown made a nice move and got up to 20, put it on the ground. And Wisconsin has it. Jim Leonard pounces on the loose pill.
It's amazing how things work. Neil Callaway, Georgia's offensive coordinator, told us yesterday Thomas Brown has not fumbled all year, which is remarkable for a freshman. And right here, we're going to see the ball come out. No question that that football is out, but Jimmy Leonard recovers the fumble. We see Brett Bielema, the defensive coordinator from Wisconsin. But isn't it amazing how sometimes when coaches bring up statistics, particularly when it comes to fumbles.
Leonard there, Bob, made the recovery, but it was Scott Starks that made the hit. And interesting to note, it was Starks that made the big hit and the fumble against Purdue that virtually ruined Purdue's season. Turned the beat around for them and propelled Wisconsin to bigger and better things. Scott Starks, another big hit for the Badgers. And Dante Sanders, their starting weak side linebacker, meanwhile, a little bit shaken on that play. Sanders, a 6'1", 210-pound junior. Let's see how that developed.
Take one more look. David Green to Thomas Brown. Dante Sanders, great effort right there. Scotty Starks knocks the football out. Brett Bielema helped that ACC official on the sidelines rule that Jimmy Leonard had possession before he went out of bounds.
Great field position for Wisconsin at Georgia's 23. Stocco, quick 3-step drop. Had it batted down at the line of scrimmage by guess who? David Pollock, number 47. In football parlance, they say he's a high motor guy.
He is truly a guy, in my opinion, that maximizes every bit of his ability. Not a long arm guy, not particularly great with vertical leap, but I think that kind of epitomizes him right there. He really does maximize every ounce of his God-given ability. Was actually a fullback in high school, came down to Florida and Georgia. One of the great stories in college football.
Backs out of the eye, Anthony Davis dancing between the tackles. Nowhere to go, though. Davis will make it up to about the 24. And for an update on Dontez Sanders of the Badgers, let's go to Holly.
Well, guys, the starting linebacker, Dontez Sanders of Wisconsin, came out of the game in the first series when they were playing defense with a shoulder or upper arm injury. Guys, during the melee in that last fumble recovery, he has re-aggravated that injury. They're checking him out right now on the sideline. No word yet on if he will be able to return. In his place, Lamar Watkins. He has been a part-time starter, though, last year, so they have a capable backup.
And you could see exactly what happened to Dontez Sanders. That right arm extended and pulled back on that right shoulder.
We got flags down again. On third down, about 8 to go.
Again, anytime you have a great defensive end on the other side of the football.
False start, offensive line, that's a 5-yard penalty. It's still third down.
They're thinking about it a little bit, huh?
One of the byproducts of having a dominating pass rusher that's quick off the football, those offensive linemen get a jump, because if they both go on the snap at the same time, that defensive end's going to win that race.
Pollock pumping up the volume on the Georgia section of fans here at Raymond James Stadium.
You have to think this is a screen down right here for Wisconsin.
Stocko working out of the shotgun, rolling out. Going back the other way for Davis. Incomplete, and boy, that was a dangerous pass. As Demario Winter was right there to break it up. Sets up a 4th down and 16. Winter, one of the most improved players defensively for Georgia.
You are exactly right. Demario Minter probably should have intercepted that ball. We're going to watch Anthony Davis come on the throwback screen. You're going to watch Demario Minter break. And Mark, I think if he goes and plays the football right now instead of playing the man, he may intercept that ball.
Yeah, Mike Allen, as a result, though, into attempt a field goal from 46 yards out. He's 3 of 5 on the year from this distance. He drills that one right down Main Street, and we are tied in fury apiece. Mike Allen with plenty of room to spare. And time on the field.
Fumble, excuse me, Mark, by Dontez Sanders. But Wisconsin able to cash in. Vay, the executive director of this Outback Bowl, does a phenomenal job. You've had the chance to be around the country, do a lot of bowl games. I can't imagine you've ever been to a better bowl game than this one.
Incredibly cordial, extremely organized. Know that the players have really enjoyed themselves.
And what you really like? That Outback steak, that big blooming onion they bring you at halftime.
Browning back deep for the kick. And looks like it's out of bounds, and Georgia will start off on its own 35-yard line. Pretty good starting field position as a result. Let's take one more look at that Allen field goal by the Badgers as we check out Kick Track, one of our new technology. This would have been good from 50 yards, they say.
I love Kick Track, but I'm thinking about if I'm Barry Alvarez over there, and the kicker knows that it would have been good from 50, he is going to be in your ear every time that ball gets within range.
It was 7 feet inside the upright, so that's almost dead in the center. And DJ Shockley now coming in the ball game, that quarterback for Georgia. This is a move that they said they were going to make. Actually, Shockley now is in at quarterback, and Green is flanked out as a receiver.
And they do this every game. DJ Shockley normally comes in the 3rd series of the game, and look at that receiver out there. Double pass.
Gimmick coming up. They throw it back, and this one imploding right from the beginning. Starks almost had himself a free pass. That wasn't pretty, Bob.
Well, one thing. We talked about Georgia has not played a football game in 5 weeks. Sometimes coaches a little too much time.
They get in the lab and think too much.
Exactly right. I mean, you knew as soon as that ball was thrown to David Green, I mean, that's a 235-pound quarterback. He's not going to run it. And the throwback screen to Shockley right here, across the field.
Shockley intended for Reggie Brown, so 2 throws, 2 incompletions, 3rd and 10, just in a snap.
Amazing how the turnover, Thomas Brown fumbling that football on the last series, gets an offense kind of back on their heels and out of rhythm as we see Georgia here go with a no-huddle plan. DJ Shockley at the line of scrimmage. Remember, he can beat you with his legs, probably more than he can beat you throwing that football right here if you're Wisconsin.
He's our quarterback of the future. Wisconsin dialing up some pressure. Shockley using those legs. Out to about the 41-yard line, about 4 yards short of the first down. Mark Zalewski pushing him out of bounds. And it'll be 4th down, 3 and out for Georgia.
The great thing about bowl games, teams from different parts of the country get to play each other that normally wouldn't play. And make no mistake about it, Barry Alvarez is sick and tired of hearing about all the speed in the SEC and Georgia. He makes no bones about it. He said if it was all about speed, let's just go recruit track guys. So this entire Wisconsin football team is tired of hearing about that.
And Bob, Jim Leonard, back to receive this punt in his own 16, was very vocal about the fact that, hey, we're not just a bunch of laborers and heavy-footed guys up here in the Midwest. Leonard, for one, can run extremely well. Made a couple of guys miss, made it out to the 19-yard line. Leonard actually won the team slam dunk contest a couple of years ago. 7 yards on the return. Tied at 3. Back to Raymond James right after this.
That Badger fan now.
They love the sun, and what a great venue for a bowl game. 5:18 to go in the first quarter. John Stocco hit his first pass of the day, subsequently missed his last 4. 1st and 10 from the 19-yard line out of the shotgun. Stocco, the little shovel pass to Davis with a nice seam out beyond the 25 to the 26, and let's go back to Reese. Reese, happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year to you guys too, Mark. And the Cotton Bowl, another SEC team off to a great start. Tennessee against Texas A&M. Rick Clausen will roll. Going to find C.J. Payton, and C.J. will do the rest. Aggies have been very shaky early. They were 4th in the nation in turnover margin. Already 2 turnovers in the first quarter. Vols up 7-0.
Basically a Texas A&M home game, playing in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas.
Nice work out of the eye here on 2nd down. Mike Lorenz now with a tackle. Davis again, looking to try and establish him. He gets the first down for Wisconsin. Out to the 32-yard line. Don't forget, Bob, I know you love a little hoops once in a while. Georgia Tech, number 9, taking on number 2, Kansas, still undefeated at 8-0. That's today at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Jarrett Jack, you talk about great quarterbacks. And Miles for Kansas getting the job done. J.R. Giddens, a great 3-point shooter for the Jayhawks. Might be able to go deep for you. 1st down and 10. Davis looking strong on consecutive runs for the Badgers, a good sign for them. Brandon Williams in motion. Stocco over the middle, and incomplete, intended for Owen Daniels. Another near miss for Wisconsin.
Wisconsin had the matchup they wanted. The tight end Owen Daniels on the safety Greg Blue. You're going to watch right here. One-on-one right here. He's got what he wants. Owen Daniels is going to break to the inside, but John Stocco cannot again get him the football. Look, there's no one in the middle of that football field. That could have been a huge play. John Stocco continues, Mark, to show a lack of confidence, in my opinion.
See if they can solve that throughout the course of the game, get him off a little bit. Davis trying to take a little pressure off of Stocco, but they put the pressure on Davis. Thomas Davis, his namesake on the other side of the ball, the All-American, with a huge hit for the loss on the play.
And this guy is a linebacker playing safety. Watch him right here. He's part of the 8-man front. They try to crack block him right there. He runs through Darren Charles. This guy is a great football player. I think he is a sure first-round pick. And you know whose number he wears right there?
10.
Fran Tarkington's number. And he is one of Fran Tarkington's favorite guys.
Third down and 12. Stocko had it knocked away. It'll be ruled incomplete. His arm was coming through, and it's fourth down for Wisconsin.
And if you're Wisconsin, I go back to the missed opportunity. John Stocko had Owen Daniels, the tight end, 2 plays ago. And now, because they missed him, they're in a 3rd and long situation. And just great pressure up front.
You know, Bob, it looked like Barry Alvarez on the sidelines was complaining that Georgia's defensive front was offside. Will Thompson got there a little bit early, maybe timing that snap. Flowers back for this punt at the 25. Flowers brought down at the 34, a 9-yard return on the 44-yard punt by Ken DeBush. And Bob, some interesting keys for Wisconsin defensively.
And Brett Bielema, Wisconsin's defensive coordinator, does something every week. He prioritizes what he must stop. In other words, number 1 is David Green, the quarterback. He's worried about play action and cadence. Several times we've seen David Green draw Wisconsin off sides. Second, we'll come back to it in a minute, is the little running back, Thomas Brown, number 20.
Yeah, Brown back in the ballgame. Audibly at the line. Ware gets the handoff as well, and Ware brought down immediately. Got about one. Let's get back to those keys.
The second thing, Thomas Brown, the little breakaway running back, outside run. They have to keep him in the box. Third, Leonard Pope down the middle of the field. What they're going to try to do is jam the big tight end at the line of scrimmage, and then the 2 wide receivers, Fred Gibson and Reggie Brown. Fred Gibson, Mark, on takeoff routes, deep routes. They're going to try to be physical with him and knock him around.
Only thrown his way once. That one intended for Brown, and Brown knocked at midfield by Jim Leonard, closing quickly. They were working on Scott Starks, and it's 3rd down and 11. Bob, after that first offensive series by Georgia, they've kind of lost their momentum a little bit.
First of all, though, 2 really, really good defensive teams in this game. Don't lose sight that Wisconsin finished the season 8th in total defense, 7th in scoring defense out of 117 teams. So these teams aren't going to run up and down that field today.
It's Erasmus Jamestown on 3rd and 11. Trying to make a move on Green. They blocked him well that time. Pass is incomplete. Brett Bell defends that time for the Badgers on Fred Gibson. And it's 4th down. Bell says, no, don't come here. It's 3 and out for Georgia once again.
Leonard Pope, the 6'7" tight end. Watch him stay in and block right here on Jonathan Welch. As this play develops right here, he just takes him and throws him airborne. That guy, and I mean this in a positive way, is a freak at 6'8".
Tereshinski is a new long snapper for Georgia. They have a bit of an issue because he has not done it that much this year. On 4th down and 11, there he is, a backup quarterback. And they almost got to it. They might have tipped it a little bit. Wisconsin's going to have great starting field position here on Georgia's side of midfield after that 16-yard punt. Not sure whether the snap had anything to do with it, but there was heavy pressure, Bob.
And you mentioned Joe Tereshinski, the new long snapper. Their starting snapper was injured in practice, and right there you see really a breakdown in protection. And number 3, Ben Strickland, could have blocked that punt if he wouldn't have left his feet, but you never know. Timing is so critical in a new deep snapper in the game. Wisconsin again with excellent field position.
Another opportunity. Play fake to Anthony Davis. They go up top for Jonathan Orr. Incomplete, and we have a flag on the play. Tim Jennings was defending the tall, speedy receiver, Jonathan Orr, from Detroit, Michigan. Looks like we're going to have some pass interference here against Georgia. Brian White, the offensive coordinator, has been waiting for Orr to break loose all year. Now would be a great time. It's against the Bulldogs.
Wisconsin felt Georgia's corners were vulnerable right here. They have the matchup they want. Jonathan Orr on Tim Jennings, and no question that Tim Jennings at 5'8" gets his hands wrapped around Jonathan Orr.
That's the first Georgia penalty of the game. And Jonathan Orr at 6'3", 195, had a great freshman season. His numbers down a little bit as a sophomore when Evans came back, and this year somewhere in between productivity-wise.
And you see the plan. If Wisconsin can run the football a lick, it's going to set up those play-action passes, throwing the football down the field on Georgia's corner.
Handed off to Williams on the reverse. They sprung it out. Williams steps out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Great move to make the play there for Georgia. Bob, you surprised that they've taken so many shots downfield that quickly?
I thought that would be part of the plan. And we go back to the point of after the first series of this game when Georgia took the ball offensively and moved it. You asked me, was I surprised there was this much defense? I'm not at all, because these are two good defensive teams. And I think a point of note, as we go later in this bowl season, get towards the national championship game, most of the points are scored early in the bowl season. The better teams all win the old school way. A lot of great defense. A lot of great defense when the bigger, better teams play late in bowl season.
Second and 11, Stocko looking up top with plenty of time to throw. Hits his man, and that looks like a first down to Brandon Williams, who was working on Tim Jennings. That time, Holly Rowe, Stocko threw a nice ball.
Well, guys, it came at a critical time because on the bench before this series, John Stocko was frankly in the tank. He was very frustrated with their last series. Now take that back to the game against Iowa. They had a chance to win and go to the Rose Bowl. His offensive coordinator, Brian White, said he took that loss so personally. They have told him, look, you played well enough this season for us to get us in a championship game. You've got to continue to have confidence, guys. He's struggling to keep his confidence up here. He needs something good to happen here on this series.
Holly gives them a 1st and 10, and there's his backup, Tyler Donovan.
We talked about using Tyler Donovan early in the second quarter as kind of a change of pace.
Davis, change of gears down to the 18-yard line. Tim Jennings made the stop.
One thing you notice about John Stocko, he does not have great velocity on the football. And right here, you see that ball wobbling, Mark, as it comes in there. Great speed in this Georgia secondary and on this Georgia defense. He kind of hangs that football out a little bit as we see Tim Jennings injured.
Jennings, the 5'8" junior. And back to John Stocko, you know, he really, though, has come a long way with respect to establishing a stronger presence in the huddle. He was actually very shy, and actually 2 years ago felt badly about passing his former friend and former quarterback buddy, Matt Shabert, on the depth chart.
And one thing you learn, if you're going to be a quarterback in major college football, you had better have thick skin. And this is his first year as a starter. He's had some great games. He brought them back in that Purdue game against a really good Purdue defense in West Lafayette to win that football game. But late in the season, he's struggled, and confidence is an issue, but nothing will mature you faster than being a quarterback at a big-time college football program.
Former high school teammate of Larry Fitzgerald, now with the Cardinals in the NFL. Stocko gonna run a pretty good athlete he is. Down to the 20-yard line. Now let's go back to Reese in the studio.
Mark, I told you Texas A&M's turned it over a couple of times in the Cotton Bowl against Tennessee, and after the second turnover, the Volunteers take advantage. Rick Clausen, his second touchdown pass of the day. This one to Corey Anderson. Vols on the move again. Aggies teetering on the brink of being out of this thing. Second quarter is just about to start.
All right, Reese, and a bit of a development here as Pollock, the stellar defensive end and 3-time All-American for Georgia, shaken up on that last play. John Stocko saying, you better stick around. I want to see you. Maybe not quite that way, but interesting that Pollock and Erasmus James, the two defensive studs in this game, have really gotten to form a mutual admiration society during the course of the past week.
And I think great news that you see him up and walking. As you see, has takeoff, how hard he comes off the football and how hard he plays right here late. I thought it was a neck injury right there. It looks like his helmet hit the ground at kind of a strange angle. Just good to see him up and walk off that field.
3rd down and 6. Stocko sacked back at the 27-yard line. by Quentin Moses. So that proves that there's more than just David Pollock up front rushing the quarterback for the Bulldogs. That's the 31st sack of the season for Georgia. And the 6.5 for him.
And again, Wisconsin has to throw when they want to, not when they have to. They have a hard time protecting John Stockton.
Appropriate that a defensive play would punctuate the last play of the first quarter. That's the tone for the day. We'll be back after this. Outback Bowl edition number 18. Georgia and Wisconsin knotted at 3. And Wisconsin now, and Mike Allen about to attempt a field goal from 44 yards out.
Well, Kick Track said, excuse me, Mark, Kick Track said it was good from 50
his last
on that last one. So let's see.
Got it. Knocked it. He's perfect in 2005.
I hope Kick Track factors in that win now, because that one was not going to be good for
What win? What win? Mike Allen will take it any way he can get it. 2 for 2 on the day.
That one was good from 44 yards and 2 inches right there.
Are you Kick Track? Russell, ESPN, all the best in 2005. And Allen so far is 2 for 2. And David Pollock, meanwhile, was shaken up on that last series. Looks like he's up and ready to go once again. Taylor Meloff is going to kick off. The left-footed kicker for Wisconsin has not been as proficient in this game as he has most of the year, unless, of course, he's trying these shallow kickoffs on purpose. This one comes down at the 25. Tyson Browning. Let's take one more look at the 44-yard field goal. And Bob, what do you think Kick Track says about this? Huh?
It better say 44 yards and about 2 inches, or it's going to lose credibility with me.
It was right down the middle.
He did, and a great point for Mike Allen. He's 2 for 2. He was actually 0 for 2 against Iowa in their last football game.
What about the distance, though? Barely crossing the upright. The crossbar.
Did we get the official call from Kick Track saying how far that would have been good from?
Well, I think they said 45. Oh, wouldn't have made 45. Okay. Not have made 45. Oh, no doubt about that one. This tight end's second catch of the ball game. He was working on Robert Brooks, a pickup of 20 yards.
And Leonard Pope, the tight end, again, we're going to watch right here. They're going to get him matched up on the safety, Brooks, and he's going to go down and run a corner route against one-on-one coverage right here. Excellent route. That route is designed to beat something called quarters coverage, and a great throw, well-designed play.
Thomas Brown on that run for the Bulldogs got a couple of yards. Interesting that coaches had told us Brown hadn't fumbled all season, and Brown fumbled earlier in the ballgame. Just underway here in the second quarter. Tied at 3. Pardon me, it's 6-3 Wisconsin. Out near midfield, it's Brown once again. And today's Game Trek is presented by Outback Steakhouse. Battle of the 2 solid, impregnable defensive ends. Erasmus James so far hasn't registered a sack. And David Pollock has 1 knockdown, and he was shaken up just on the last series for Georgia. And the score reflecting the tenor of this ball game. It's about defense. 3rd down and 5 for the Bulldogs. Green working out of the shotgun. Incomplete and picked off. Chucky Cowens with a blocker in front of him. There's a flag back at the 45. Cowens brought down to the 15. Off of the hands of Thomas Brown, and the Badgers could be in business. A 40-yard return on the interception by Chucky Cowens. That's the 10th pick of the year for the Badgers. But will it stand? David Green has only thrown 2 interceptions coming into this ball game.
Wow.
Got one going each way on this.
That will stand as a turnover.
Holding number 52 of the offense. That penalty is refused. After the interception, there was holding number 20 by the return team. That penalty is accepted. The penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Wisconsin retains the ball. First down.
And I talked to Ken Rucker, their running back coach, Georgia's running back coach, before the game, and he said Thomas Brown has excellent hands. And right here, that football's thrown a little bit high and inside, but Chucky Cowens comes up with the second turnover of the day for this Wisconsin defense, and put an asterisk by that holding penalty on that return, because look how that affected the field position now that Wisconsin has that football back. But a second turnover of the day, Mark, and you mentioned David Green came in with 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Ball probably should have been caught.
That was catchable. Pollock back in the ball game. They set up the screen. Anthony Davis. And Davis out near the 40. Got about 4. Brought down by Demario Winter. Let's go downstairs to Holly for an injury update.
Well, guys, David Pollock is fine. He was treated for a cut on his left knuckle. They also put some ice on his mouth. He got a pretty good cut in the lip. He's got a big fat lip. He kept saying, is my lip fat? Do I look bad? He's okay, though. Tim Jennings, on the other hand, has a pretty nasty cut across the top of his forehead. They put some butterfly sutures on it, patted it up with some gauze, and he's going to try to give it a go.
All right, Holly, like Bob said at the top of the show, it's a defensive slanted game, and you need a good cut man in each corner for this one. Second down and 5 for Wisconsin from the 40. Hands it off to Davis. Anthony Davis trying to bounce it outside and brought down behind the line of scrimmage at the 38 by Derek White. That Georgia defense with some good speed at the linebacker position. White, Burden, Wheeler, Thurman, and Harrison.
And we talked about the Wisconsin defense. This Georgia defense under Brian Van Gorder, their defensive coordinator, comes in 12th in total defense, 13th in scoring defense out of 117 teams. They have a lot of great athletes on this defensive football team, and a lot of players. I think 13 players from the Georgia defense over the last 3 years are now in the NFL.
Unfortunately for Mark Richter, some of those have left early. 3rd and 6, Stakos brought down. Thomas Davis making the play once again for Georgia. Davis brought it that time, and you see why he's an All-American and as a junior projected as a first-round pick.
And some people think Thomas Davis will be a linebacker in the NFL.
Illegal shift, number 11 of the offense, failure to set for 1 second. That penalty is refused. It's 4th down.
That's Brian Van Gorder, the defensive coordinator for the Bulldogs, jacked up and pumped up.
And Thomas Davis, you're going to see right here, plays as an outside linebacker in their 3-4 nickel pass rush defense. And that is why some people, that football came out right there. Some people project him at 230 pounds as an outside linebacker in the 3-4. But Mark, I go back to that holding penalty on that interception. That was huge because Wisconsin now punts the football instead of getting points.
A huge difference in field position. This is Thomas Flowers on the punt return. Flowers out to the 38-yard line for the Bulldogs. A 40-yard punt, 15 on the return. A couple of great defenders in this ball game, Pollock and Erasmus James. James going to be coming in the Clearwater area. Just a gorgeous day for a college football game. Georgia with the ball, 1st down and 10 from their own 37. They trail by a field goal. Danny Ware getting to the edge. We talked about both Erasmus James and Pollock, and Holly Rowe got together with them yesterday.
I've never stolen a move from him, but I saw his highlight tape, and he's quite disgusting. I mean, he's a good player. You know, I met him, more importantly, and he's a good guy. God took football away from him last year, and I think he appreciates it a lot more than a lot of people. And he's out there playing his heart out, and that's what it's about.
And Erasmus, what do you think about his game?
He's a hard worker. He keeps his feet moving all the time. And that's what I like about this guy. He keeps his feet moving, and when you think he's out of it, he's not out of it. He's got a second move ready to go ahead and get there. So.
And on cue, Erasmus James makes the tackle on Ware on the play. Let's talk about Erasmus James. Grew up in St. Kitts in the Caribbean, moved to New York at a young age. Then the family moved to Pembroke Pines, Florida, Miami, Florida. And Bob, just a year ago, Pollock said it, God took football away from Erasmus James. Doctors thought he'd never play again because of that hip injury. We'll talk about it more after this play. First down and 10 for Georgia. Green going up top. Completes it to Pope, but there's a flag down back at the 45-yard line. And they might have held Erasmus James, Bob, on that play. But yeah, doctors thought that he might not play again. He got a second opinion from the New York Giants NFL doctor and did some good rehab and got back on the football field.
He has come a long way. The Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Only played 1 year of high school football. Was really a basketball player. Senior year in high school was 6'4", 190 pounds. Then had to sit out his first year at Wisconsin because of academics. So it's been a long journey for this guy, and he's about to make some money very shortly as we see him. I believe this is the holding. In fact, I know it is. He got tackled right there and engulfed.
Erasmus James, interesting that Barry Alvarez during the Big Ten Conference meetings earlier this year really was quiet about that. He played possum on that one.
He did.
He didn't let anybody know how good James was going to be and how he'd come back to form.
Well, he didn't want anyone game planning early in that season. He just wanted to unleash Erasmus James. So I've been pretty good. You know, Barry's been around a long time. I mean,
Sly Fox of the heartland of America. Barry Alvarez. First down and 20 for Green. And it's incomplete over the middle. Let's go back to Reese in the studio.
All right, guys, apparently Texas A&M's New Year's resolution was revert to their 0-3 form when they coughed the ball up all the time. After their third turnover of the first half, Tennessee's Cedric Houston going to make them pay. And there is a Texas-sized can of whooping being applied to the Aggie backside. 21-0 ball.
Kind of ugly down there amongst the hometown folks at
That's
A&M.
surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's surprising with the emotion you think A&M would have going into that game. And I don't think really a dynamic Tennessee team by any stretch of the imagination. But how big was that holding penalty? Almost as big as the holding penalty on Wisconsin on Cowan's interception return.
Defense is winning the battle so far. Move inside by Brown. Stopped up at the line of scrimmage by Zalewski. Both these two teams rank in the top 15 in scoring and total defense.
And I know you love great spread offense, but you agree with my point. As we get into the BCS games, when we talk about national championship games, when you talk about Oklahoma, USC, Auburn, Virginia Tech, Wisconsin, Georgia, LSU, Iowa, not as many points in the late bowl games as on those early bowl games.
They're not playing in shootouts. 3rd and 21. Green on the comeback. What a move by Brown. And Brown got the first down. Reggie Brown came back to make a marvelous catch. Jim Leonard thought he might have had an interception on the play. Instead, it goes for 26 yards for Georgia.
And there's a lot of great stories. Reggie Brown is a great story. And this is hard to imagine on 3rd and forever. A great play by Reggie Brown of coming back for that football. And look at his elusiveness, Mark, in the open field.
Team's leading receiver. Pass complete at the 30-yard line. That one to Freddie Gibson. He was working on Greg Bell, but what a move by Reggie Brown.
Back to Reggie Brown. I talked to their weight coach, Van Hallinger, before today's game. He said he is the best athlete on this football team. He's a 4.35, 43-inch vertical jump. Works out like a nut is the term Dave Van Hallinger used.
Second down and 3. David Green, who lives next door to Reggie Brown, can attest to that. He handed off. The other Brown, Thomas Brown, got back to the line of scrimmage. We're back to Reggie Brown. David Green, Bob, says that, you know, me as his neighbor, I see this guy. He'll go out after a game, jump on his bicycle, and ride for 10 miles just to get another sweat.
That makes those coaches nervous. In fact, they had a party out at Neil Callaway, the offensive coordinator's house, which is about 10 miles from campus. Reggie Brown rode his bike out there, but the coaches saw it. They made him put the bike in the trunk on the way home, and they drove him back to
I know they have buses in Athens. I know that. Reggie Brown just can't help himself. Mark Richt thinking about the next play. We'll be back right after this. Middle 3rd down and 3 coming up from
Georgia here as they trail by a field goal. New Year's Day 2005, Raymond James Stadium. I'm Mark Jones along with Bob Davie. Holly Rowe down in the field. Thomas Brown is the back behind Green. Starks caused a fumble already in this ball game.
What you love, the big fullback in the game. Both these teams play with fullbacks, which has to help you on these third down situations.
Jeremy Thomas leading the way that time for Brown. Stayed on his feet and got the first down. He broke the tackle. Ran through Robert Brooks. Gave him a straight arm.
And you see why Thomas Brown is a Georgia fan favorite. He's only about 5'8", but unbelievable strength. I mean, he benches over 400 pounds. He squats 525. You're going to see the big fullback right there. That's the way football is supposed to be, Mark. In this day of spread offense, it's fun to see a fullback lead up through there.
Sure is. And Ware that time running behind the fullback. Ware and Brown combined for almost 1,400 yards rushing this year. A couple of very talented freshmen. We talked about Thomas Brown moments ago, wearing number 20. He wears it in honor of Barry Sanders, a player that he idolizes.
It really is a great story because Craig Lumpkin was Georgia's starting tailback in training camp. He goes down with an ACL. Last year, they never had a back run for 100 yards. This year, these guys have done it 7 times.
Gibson, touchdown Bulldogs.
Georgia's third down conversion on 3rd and about 18 was huge.
And for David Green, his 19th touchdown pass this season, the 71st of his illustrious career, the 4-year starter continues to rewrite the record books at Georgia. You have to feel good for Freddie Gibson as well. Playing his last game, he's a senior. He too with eyes on playing at the next level. Georgia now going to attempt the extra point.
And give some of the credit, maybe a lot of the credit, to Reggie Brown, number 1, the little receiver who made the great move on 3rd and long to convert the first down.
That was a pivotal play to keep that drive alive. A 19-yard touchdown catch from Freddie Gibson. And Georgia takes a 4-point lead at full speed. There's what it looked like. Boy, David Green put it right where it had to be. Georgia looking for its 10th win of the season, as is Wisconsin, and right now the Bulldogs lead at 10-6. And join ESPN2 next week for Bass Saturday. 2.5 hours of weekly competition following the tournament trail, learning from the best, debating the biggest topics and highlights from all the rod bending, line stretching, fishing, as well as tip and technology sharing. Yes, Bass Center opens the block each Saturday at 7 a.m. Eastern, followed by our 2 loudmouth bass hosts that passionately agree only about one thing. They love bass fishing. Everything else is a reason for an argument.
Did you say Bass Saturday?
Bass Saturday.
Followed by Bass Center? There's some creative cats back in Bristol now.
There's an analyst job
No
there.
Sports Center, it's Bass Center.
Bass Center.
That's a classic.
They can break that down.
I'm sure you're going to be watching that, right?
Get out there a little bit. Get out there a little bit. Short kickoffs have been the order of the day. This is Brandon Williams returning for the Badgers. Wisconsin takes it out to the 23-yard line. One more look at that touchdown catch by Gibson.
The most difficult thing for a defensive back is, when do I look back to the quarterback and make a play on the ball? Here you see Brett Bell looking back at the quarterback too early. There's too much separation between he and the receiver, Freddie Gibson. You never look back until you are close enough to the receiver to make a play. That time, Brett Bell looked back too early. Fred Gibson just ran away from him.
And Bob, now we have a new quarterback, a bit of a change of pace for Wisconsin. Tyler Donovan, the 6'1" freshman in the ball game, keeps it himself on a little side option. And Tyler Donovan, nice run out to the 33-yard line, brought down by Greg Blue. Why the change, Bob?
Well, this is spread offense, and they felt like they needed to change the tempo, and Tyler Donovan is a runner. Coming into the game, he had 9 carries for 102 yards. And this is a spread run play. As we let this thing run right now, watch him fake the ball to the tailback right here, pull the guard around as the lead blocker, and then the quarterback follows up in there just like an isolation. So it's really a tailback play with the quarterback being the tailback. And I think an excellent move right here by Barry Alvarez and Brian White, the offensive coordinator. But this guy is really a runner at quarterback.
7:18 to go now in the first half of play. Barry Alvarez makes a bit of a change up here. Speaking of runners, Anthony Davis still trying to get untracked. 8 rushes for a total of 15 yards. We got a timeout on the field. We'll be back after this. I don't have much give here. And welcome everyone back to Tampa, 10-6, Georgia leading. I'm Mark Jones along with Bob Davie, Holly Rowe down in the field. Bob, these two teams have not played for quite some time. As a coach, what kind of challenges do you face in trying to keep your team focused?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge, because a lot of times in a bowl game, you have a different team than you had when you played your last regular season game. I mean, Wisconsin hasn't played in 6 weeks. Georgia hasn't played in 5 weeks, and there's so many issues that become magnified over that period of time. I'll give you a perfect example. There's a lot of NFL draft picks on this field today. Wisconsin's entire front 4 will be drafted and will play in the NFL. They have 2 defensive backs as well that will play in the NFL. Agents is a huge issue, and make no doubt, as soon as this game is over, they talk about the national signing date for recruits coming out of high school. This is the agents' national signing date, because as soon as this game's over, these guys are free to sign with agents.
Guys like Pollock, guys like Erasmus James, Freddie Gibson, for one, has already said a couple of days ago that right after this, I'm going out to Phoenix to start getting ready for the combine. And we want to reiterate right here just real quickly that the delay right now is because of technical difficulties. Erasmus James there on the bench for Wisconsin.
And Barry Alvarez addressed this issue, particularly with guys like Erasmus James. It's a reality that agents are going to be around, because what a great place for agents to meet the families of all these players that are here. And Barry Alvarez says, look, don't let an agent take 15 minutes of your fun and your time away from this bowl preparation. Last time with your teammates, you've got that sarcastic look on your face like, I think I know where you're going.
Oh, boy. Interesting that we will want to mention once again that the technical difficulty we're experiencing right now is because of that instrument, Skycam, which gives us so many wonderful views and perspectives of this ball game. We're going to try and get it resolved sometime very soon and get back to playing what so far has been a very defensive slanted game. Barry Alvarez's team coming in at 9-2. Georgia also at 9-2. And don't forget that Monday night, more great football coming your way, this time on ABC. At 8 Eastern time, it's the Nokia Sugar Bowl from New Orleans. Auburn finished the season 12-0, SEC champs, 3rd in the BCS. Virginia Tech, the ACC champion. And Bob, I still say, contend that Auburn might be the best team in the country.
I think they're a great team when I watch them on tape, but they better watch, because it may be the Cal Golden Bear syndrome of thinking you should be in a bowl game different than the one you're in, and that's what got Cal in that Holiday Bowl when they got beat by Texas Tech. And Auburn better be careful, because to me, Virginia Tech improved as much as any football team, particularly this guy Brian Randall. So I agree, Auburn's a good team, but as we just talked about, with all the time between the last game and the bowl game, the mindset of your football team is critical.
Jason Campbell at quarterback for Auburn might have made the biggest turnaround at this position this year, working with Al Borges as his coordinator this year. Let's go back to Reese in the studio. Reese.
But I'll tell you what, if you're going to have a Skycam malfunction and these fans have to sit here a lot longer, what a great day to sit here. I mean, this is different if this game's in Madison, Wisconsin today, but I mean, none of these people were real disappointed about sitting out here a little bit longer.
All you need is a little SPF 8. Be all right. 1st down and 10 for the Badgers. They trail by 4. Tyler Donovan still in at quarterback. Runs it again. Got hit, but spun off of the hit and fell forward to the 38. Danny Verdun-Wheeler.
And one of the things, if you're going to use your quarterback as basically a tailback, he is going to take some licks. And Danny Verdun-Wheeler that time put a lick on Taylor Donovan. And you wonder, that time period, that had to help Brian Van Gorder and hurt Wisconsin, because any surprise element after that 8 or 9 minute delay is out the window, because he had time to get his defense over and kind of reconvene on the game plan.
He was just a scout player last year, Tyler Donovan. Redshirted his first year. This time hands it off to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis out near the 40-yard line. About 4 yards to go for the first down. Odell Thurman made the stop on the play. They're working on Pollock pretty good here, Bob.
Whether it's run or pass, you're going to have 2 guys on Pollock. And right there, I mean, you can see him working. But when they run that power play off tackle, they're going to put 2 guys on that defensive end to ensure that.
Pollock obsessive about his late night workouts in the weight room. And it's paid off.
And they play him on both sides, so both offensive tackles are going to get a chance to try to block.
Stocco comes in and fires it incomplete to Darren Charles at the 45-yard line. Demario Winter broke it up. He got an arm in there.
Kind of tough for a quarterback to come off the bench in mid-series and make a throw on 3rd down. But right here, ball could have been caught, but a great effort by Demario Minner of just staying with that football and getting it out of there.
1 down 4 as a result to Bush into punt.
That's tough, though, isn't it, Mark? Sit on the sidelines for 2 plays, and then 3rd down, you run out there and try to throw a pass. Difficult.
High spiral. Flowers calling for the fair catch at the 27-yard line of Georgia. 5:25 to go in the first half. Once again, special teams bringing a little bit of heat on Wisconsin on the punt. A 33-yard effort that time.
Georgia has blocked 2 punts this season, and this should have been the 3rd right here. Trey Battle, number 25. Georgia's nickelback came right up the seam right there.
David Green in at quarterback. We've already seen both backups in this ball game. Danny Ware in at tailback. Shankly was in a couple of series ago for Green. Play fake. Pass is complete at the 47-yard line to Sean Bailey, but there's a flag down at the far side of the field at the 27. See if this one stands or not. These 2 teams met back in 1998 in the same game.
Number 9 in the defense. That penalty is refused. First down.
An experienced quarterback like David Green, 51 starts. Again, that cadence in unison that time. He drew Wisconsin's defensive front prior to the snap, and then the play action pass. So tough to get in sync if you're Wisconsin's defense, and you're getting cadence and you're getting play action pass off run fakes.
19-yard pickup. It's first down and 10 near midfield.
15.
The play fake. Incomplete. Boy, the backup tight end, Milner, was wide open. It hit him in the hands and he dropped it. But David Green really sells those play fakes well.
You're exactly right, and that is the key point. Again, the play action fake. This time they bring the tight end Milner across the field. Great angle right here. You see they make the linebackers respect run. Then they bring the tight end in behind. And where is Leonard Pope, number 81?
Made an indelible print on this early in the game. Here's the counter. Ware is brought down by Jim Leonard coming up from his free safety spot. Jim Leonard, for one, is tired of all the talk about speed versus strength in this game.
Interesting little play here, kind of a counter action, and they pulled the right offensive tackle right here, number 66, Dennis Rowland. And Danny Ware continues to protect that football, Mark, even though he has a cast on that hand.
3rd down and 4. Some late substitutions now for Georgia. Early time on the play clock.
Again, cadence.
They blocked James well that time. Incomplete. Off of the hands of Williams. The backup fullback should have got that one, and it's 4th down as a result. Mark Richt can't catch a break.
When you're a high-profile player, you're going to draw some attention. Right here, you notice the back where chipped him before he went into the route. So a little technique right there of having that running back run by that defensive end and just knock him off stride.
I learned that chip phrase in one of your football 101s.
Keep in mind, Wisconsin, great pressure on the punter. Also, Georgia, a new long snapper in the football game.
Tereshinski, a wobbly snap, and he bobbles it, but there's no run. Oh, they caught a break that time. And as a result, they're going to get this one down inside the 20 as well. There was no pressure coming by Wisconsin. Tereshinski didn't have a great snap.
And if you remember in our conversation yesterday as we look at Mark Richt, I asked Mark Richt, what role does Vince Dooley play, the longtime Georgia coach who was the AD that hired Mark Richt? He said the only thing in Mark Richt's 4 years he has talked to him about from an X and O standpoint is if you are rushing the punter, always have one guy who comes and ensures that kick. Because this happened to Georgia when they punted the football several years ago. Wisconsin, if they had somebody coming right there, that would have been a huge turnover and field position switch.
Okay, well, John Stocco backing in quarterback for Wisconsin from the beginning this time, and fires incomplete. It was almost picked off by Minter. It was intended for Owen Daniels, and you know what? John Stocco is really struggling right now, throwing the ball. Just 4 of 12 for 37 yards.
And right here, we're going to see what the Georgia coaches are upset about. Owen Daniels isolated right there on Minter. And you see that left hand come out and pull DeMario Minter away from the football. That should have been offensive pass interference right there. So maybe Barry Alvarez's conversation with the ACC referee before the game, maybe it is a factor.
A little bit of posturing may have helped. 2nd down and 10. Trips right formation, but they hand it off to Anthony Davis. Davis into the boundary and brought down short of the 20 by number 33, Odell Thurman. Minter also there. Odell Thurman's been busy so far in this ball game. Interesting story in that he was suspended for the first 3 games of the season and has since really pulled himself out of the slump and played good football. He was outstanding in that season ender against Georgia Tech.
And a tough background for Odell Thurman. Lost his mom early, came to Georgia, went to military academy, then lost his father his sophomore year. So a tough background, but this guy's going to be an NFL player.
3rd down and long. Story of the day for the Badgers. Blitz coming by the Bulldogs. Incomplete. Thurman came again with the pressure. That's going to be grounding against Wisconsin. He was inside the box.
You see Brian Van Gorder, he's done an excellent job here at Georgia, and he heated him up that time. He brought Greg Blue, the safety, on the blitz, and Odell Thurman, the linebacker.
3 and out for Wisconsin.
We were just talking about Odell Thurman. This guy was a tailback in high school.
That's up a 4th down and 14, the 5th punt of the afternoon for Kenny DeBush. Hasn't had any block this year. It's a low line drive punt, very returnable. And it takes a Wisconsin bounce, going to be marked at the 44-yard line. And that's going to be a flag as Jim Leonard got rocked from behind. An unnecessary play by Georgia on the 37-yard punt by DeBush.
You're exactly right, and that really takes away great field position that Georgia would have had here, Mark, late in this first half.
And that's going to go against the Bulldogs. Let's take one more look. Coach Rick not going to be happy about that one.
And I can see why. That was totally unnecessary. You're going to see coming in here late in the screen. Right there, it's always the second guy that gets it. And that is a great example of the second guy getting penalized. But that isn't the first time that young man has heard that. It's always the second guy that retaliates that gets caught.
That time it was Andrew Williams getting flagged. And it pushes the ball all the way back inside the 30 to the 28-yard line for Mark Richt and the Georgia Bulldogs. Going for their third consecutive 10-win season. Richt, the former teammate of Jim Kelly and Vinny Testaverde and Bernie Kosar at the University of Miami. Thus, he has a real offensive bent to what he likes to do.
And the big tight end, Leonard Moak, back in the football game.
Green heaving it downfield for Gibson. Not even Luke Bull didn't cut that one. Let's go back to Reese. Not even you, Reese.
Coming up on the Dodge halftime report, Mark, Tennessee's making it as easy as taking cotton candy from an Aggie. We'll have the latest on Bobby Petrino's saga and take you down to Miami, looking ahead to the FedEx Orange Bowl.
Hey, guys, we'll break down the Fiesta Bowl and just look at what makes Urban Meyer the offensive guru that he is.
I'll break down the Rose Bowl, Texas and Michigan. I want to know from Bob Davie, how good can Derek Johnson, the linebacker from Texas, be in the next level?
Hey, Mark, I'm going to come back to that, but don't go easy with those guru titles. I coached 5 years with Urban Meyer. He's a great coach, but don't start labeling that guy with guru. That's a kiss of death when you start that stuff.
They set up the screen. The Bulldogs do get the first down, and Thomas Brown, atoning for that earlier fumble, gets the first down at the 43-yard line, picking up 14 yards on the play.
Excellent call right there on 2nd and long, setting up the screen to the little tailback.
Thomas Brown did a nice job.
And good to see him come back, Mark, after the ball bouncing off his hand. Good balance right there. Gets Georgia back on rhythm right here in the first down situation.
Approaching 2 minutes to go in the first half. The first half dominated by defenses. Green working out of the shotgun. James still looking for his first sack. Don't get it on this play. Complete. And a nice pickup.
Pass complete
on the catch by A.J. Bryant, about 6 yards.
Number 2, Scott Starks.
It's interesting with David Green. 80% of the time, they will package or call 2 plays, and he'll check either or. But he also, anytime, can check completely to a different play if he sees something he likes in the secondary. So they give this quarterback a lot of freedom, and right here you see him taking advantage of that. Really like a coach on the field.
Second down and 4. James goes to the sideline for the Badgers. That pass incomplete at the 46, intended for Brian McClendon. That's the 3rd dropped ball by Georgia receivers today, Bob. They're not giving David Green much help.
You're exactly right. Go back to David Green, 51 starts. Lost 15 pounds since last year, and they say that's really helped him as a quarterback. I really like his release. David Green has a quick release.
Well, Rick knew that his guy was special. As a freshman in 2001, he led Georgia to a comeback win at Tennessee in front of over 107,000.
Keep your eye on that tight end.
Pass is complete to Freddie Gibson at the 44-yard line, and for a guy that has been much maligned in the past for not being physical enough, Freddie Gibson making a nice play there.
And Wisconsin chooses to play off of Freddie Gibson. This guy's really a basketball player at heart. He played 2 years of basketball in Georgia. This is a time where Mark Richt may launch one down that field.
Run it. This is Ware reversing his field, and Ware got about 3 on the play up to the 40. Second down and about 7 to go. Yeah, Freddie Gibson was on the basketball team for a couple of seasons, and they feel that it hurt him a little bit, but back to Ware.
You see why these 2 freshman running backs are so outstanding. Danny Ware with great change of direction. Notice he carries that ball only in his left hand because the right hand has a cast on it.
Timeout on the field. Georgia with 1 timeout remaining, trying to get into field goal range when we come back. whatever city we're talking about. This one here in Tampa, a wonderful one. Second down and 6. James is not in the ball game. Flags down. Rasmus James has had the last couple of plays off for the Badgers. Bob, the offensive linemen have done a nice job on both sides of the ball for both teams, because neither Pollock or James has really gotten a sack yet. I don't know if that's what you really measure it by.
I think Georgia.
It was a false start by the offensive guard. The 5-yard penalty is still second down. Please put 1:06 on the stadium clock.
I think Georgia has an excellent plan because of number 1 cadence, changing that snap count. You see right there that sometimes the offensive linemen love the cadence when you change it, because it keeps the defensive lineman off a little jumpy, but it also hurts them. And right there is one example of that. But also the play action pass and the screen game of Georgia. It's hard to just rush them straight up the field.
James back in the ball game for Wisconsin. Coming off the edge, almost got to Green. And it's incomplete at the 30-yard line, intended for Leonard Pope. Third down and 11.
And right now, Mark, on 3rd down and 11, as we see Erasmus James on this last snap come around a horn, it's going to be fun to watch him on 3rd and long. And what Georgia's plan is, look for the running back maybe to chip him. The running back run by and chip Erasmus James on the snap of the ball.
On the ground in the backfield, yeah, he came up. Pass is complete at the 31-yard line to Reggie Brown. It looks like he's got the first down. Yes, he does. A pickup of 14.
And you love David Green in the shotgun, takes one step and just releases that ball. I love the way he gets rid of that football.
Right now they are in field goal range for Coutu. Green, incomplete at the 22, intended for Gibson. Got under the carpet and went after that ball. And don't forget that coming up at halftime on the Dodge Halftime Report with Reese, Trev, and Mark, an update on the Cotton Bowl. And will Bobby Petrino go to LSU or stay at Louisville? Chris Lee and Kirk in Miami for a national title game update. And well, what about that situation with Bobby Petrino at a booster banquet? People are criticizing him, and he walks in. They didn't expect him to show up.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. 46 seconds to go in the first half. Green fires incomplete. Intended for Bailey. Good coverage by Robert Brooks. It'll be 3rd down and 10 in the blink for Georgia.
And we talked about the speed issue. Wisconsin very sensitive to that. I don't really notice a huge difference in speed, to be quite honest, in this football game.
I don't see it either, frankly. Wisconsin doesn't have that many players from this state of Florida, but Larry Alvarez has said that he's going to do some recruiting in the next few days down here. 11th play of the drive. They've run it 9 times. Or he's passed it 9 times. And they'll pass again. And they sack Green back at the 35. That takes him further out of field goal range, perhaps. Cooper and Hawthorne there. Jamal Cooper, great speed rusher off the edge.
And Wisconsin did it, Mark, with only a 3-man rush. Right here, they're just going to rush 3 players up the field, and Jamal Cooper, number 5. You see him at the top of the screen, an undersized defensive end, giving great effort, and big Antaj Hawthorne, 77, who he himself may be a first-round draft choice as a defensive tackle.
We saw Cooper, Bob, come in the Purdue game when James was injured, and he did a fine job rushing the quarterback just like he did on that last play. So Georgia calls its final timeout of the first half with 2 seconds to go. Nose of the ball at the 35-yard line. That would make it about a 52-yard field goal should they attempt to go for one. Don't forget that the Dodge halftime report is coming up. Bob, do you like the field goal here, or do you try a Hail Mary?
Oh, I think you have to try the field goal. Be a 52-yard field goal, I believe, from right here. Once again, keep in mind, Coutu, the field goal kicker, only 2 field goal attempts on the season. his long 44 yards. So a lot really depends on that.
You know, at the top of the show, a few bowl games ago, you said that we're going to see the high-scoring bowl game. I thought you were going to predict that we'd see the lowest one at the top of this.
Well, there's some good defenses down the road now. Because don't think Oklahoma and USC, don't think those two teams are going to run up and down the field on each other.
In comes Kutu to attempt a field goal from about 52 yards out. Just his third field goal attempt of the season. Andy Bailey was demoted after the Georgia Tech game, the last regular season game of the season, although both he and Kutu had competed very closely and hotly during spring football. Don't forget that coming up at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN, folks, if hoops is your thing, this is it. Number 9, Georgia Tech against number 2, 8-0, undefeated Kansas. Jared Jack going to be getting his jacks up. Good shooter, a great field goal percentage shooter, and Aaron Miles running the show meanwhile for Kansas. A rematch of last year's NCAA regional final, an overtime win for Georgia Tech.
And I'll tell you what, these bowl games are tough. I want you to look right here at Barry Alvarez. He has a boot on that right foot, and this is an unbelievable story. And I know he's a little bit embarrassed to tell it, even though I know him well. He broke that foot playing golf at Augusta after the regular season. And how it happened, he hit a ball he thought was a great shot. It was heading right for the stick. It hit the top of the bunker, rolled back in the bunker. He got mad and swung his club in disgust and hit himself in the foot and broke his foot. Now, I played enough golf with Barry that he shouldn't be taking golf too seriously. But of all the guys to do that, because you're not going to have more fun with a guy on a golf course than Barry. And for him to take that serious, but he broke his foot on the 3rd hole when he hit a ball in a bunker.
Did he break 80 on the round?
He limped.
He limped to an 80?
But how about being at Augusta? He's at Augusta, a lifelong dream to play. He walked the first 9, finished the second 9, or finished the 18 with a golf cart, went back to Madison, found out his foot was broken.
Get better in the sun down here, though. 4th and 14, and they attempt the field goal. This would be a career long for Kutu. And the Badgers are going to try and put him on ice a little bit. Not sure if you can put somebody on ice in 77-degree weather, but they'll try nonetheless. And speaking of the kicker, let's go downstairs to Holly.
Well, guys, believe it or not, Brandon Kutu was right in the running to be the starting kicker when the season started with Andy Bailey. But Mark Richt thought that he was doing so much better on kickoffs, he decided to keep Kutu on kickoffs and let him focus because he's such a young player and have Andy Bailey worry about field goals. Well, as the season has progressed, Bailey really struggled against Georgia Tech, and Kutu continues to be strong on kickoffs and looked good in practice against field goals. So he decided, what the heck, threw him in for bowl practice, and we'll see how he responds under a pretty big pressure situation right now. Just his 3rd field goal attempt of the year, but it's a pretty long one.
Yeah, Holly, maybe they're both thinking about that kick track right now.
Kind of interesting.
Adjustments.
He's going to stay warm, but Mark Richt out on the field in that huddle right there with the Georgia offensive team, and he's done a great job. I mean, he's 41-10 since 2001. That's 6th in the country of all schools. But in the last 8 years, Georgia's won a bunch of games because Jim Donnan was 35-13 in the 4 years before him. So they've won a bunch of football games over the last 8 years in Athens.
Okay, Kutu coming now from 52 yards out. That's his 3rd attempt of the season. Oh, and he missed it to the right. Had enough distance.
Maybe a little ice led to that wide right, huh?
Yeah, Barry Alvarez froze him just enough. Erasmus James trying to make an imprint on this game from his defensive end spot. Hadn't been able to register a sack, but they paid a lot of attention to him. Alvarez's team trailing at the break. One more look at the field goal attempt by Kutu.
Boy, I tell you what.
By mere inches. Let's go down to Holly.
Mark, we're here with Coach Rick, and Coach, in the first half, that cadence really seemed to catch Wisconsin off guard. How were you doing that?
Well, we're just changing it up. You know, Erasmus is such a good get-off guy. if he gets your cadence, you're in trouble. So we're trying to change it up on him and use some backs to help out on him too. And done a good job of that. We're not throwing and catching like we ought to, playing good defense, and turned it over twice. That's what's really hurting us right now.
Your opening drive, you took it right down the field, had all that momentum. What do you have to do to get that back?
Well, we just got to get another good drive together. And the first drive was great until we have to kick a field goal. So let's get some 7s instead of 3s and continue to play good defense.
All right, thanks very much. Mark?
Hey, Reese, both these offenses playing like they still have the lampshade on their heads from the New Year's Eve party last night. Back to you for the Dogs halftime report.
I don't know the Badgers by a count of 10-6. And speaking points on the board.
Well, it's difficult for Wisconsin because at some point on January 1st, you are what you are. I mean, you started this thing back in August, so there's no instant remedy for Wisconsin's offense. The problem they're having right now is just this Georgia front. Georgia with 8 tackles for loss, 4 sacks in the first half defensively. Wisconsin only with 52 yards. They're in a battle. I mean, they're going to have to play action, and when they get an opportunity to get a play, take advantage of it, because they're not going to have many against this Georgia defense. Georgia's offense, excellent first half statistically, 250 yards. The 2 turnovers hurt Georgia, plus they dropped some passes that I think they normally catch. So Georgia more flashy, probably more offensive weapons. Wisconsin has to win it like they've won all year, just grind it out in Badger football style.
And part of that, Stock are going to have to get Anthony Davis untracked a little bit. And let's take a look at how Wisconsin ended the first half. Check that. Georgia ended the first half of play on this field goal attempt. Kick track tells us that it missed by just 3 feet to the right. There's where it was with relationship to the uprights. It would have been good from 57, Bob, but the aim was a little bit off.
Well,
pushed it to the right.
Those 2 timeouts that Barry Alvarez used at the end of the first half to ice them may have been responsible for that 3 feet wide right situation.
Let's go downstairs to Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, as we know, that cadence change in the first half by Georgia seemed to be a big problem, drawing Wisconsin offside several times. I talked to the head umpire, or the head referee, Jack Childress, at the half. He said that Wisconsin has complained that the center and quarterback are making some slight movements, bobbing their head or squeezing their knees together, and that is drawing the defensive line off. He went over, had a talk with David Green about it and Mark Richt. He's not saying that they're doing it. He just wanted to warn them that Wisconsin thinks they are, and they need to get that corrected before anybody has to throw a flag on that.
A good bit of officiating there, Holly. Good report. Interesting, Bob, on that first offsides by Wisconsin, you did see David Green's head move pronounced on the snap.
Well, you're going to have a hard time
prior to the
getting
snap
that called, particularly when that quarterback's back in the shotgun. Georgia still goes ahead and uses a cadence, even though the quarterback's in the shotgun behind the center. But all that stuff that Holly talked about really does play with the heads of these Wisconsin defensive linemen, because if they're going to win this football game, I really do think they're going to have to create another turnover, the 3rd or 4th turnover of the day for Georgia. They have to have excellent field position if Wisconsin's going to score.
Well, you talk about turnovers. Let's take a look at the first half statistics. Georgia with 2 turnovers. Wisconsin, though, for the most part, unable to take big advantage of those turnovers. Georgia with 3 sacks to just 1 for the Badgers so far. And, boy, the total offense by Wisconsin just 54 yards so far.
And the key stat for Georgia, 2 turnovers. Even though they have 252 yards of offense, the 2 turnovers kept them from getting more scores. I think the key for Barry Alvarez, his quarterback, John Stocco, continues to struggle in this football game, really like he did against Iowa in their last regular season game.
This team will receive in the second half here, and aerial coverage for today's Outback Bowl is courtesy of the Outback Steakhouse Airship Bloomin' Onion 1. The Outback Steakhouse Airship, specializing in college football and PGA golf coverage. Look for the Bloomin' Onion at sporting events through 2005. And Bob had a Bloomin' Onion at halftime. Didn't know they had one up in the air, too. Just a wonderful ball. That's Brandon Williams back deep to receive the kickoff. And Anthony Davis, John Stocco, Owen Daniel, Jonathan Orr, Darren Charles, Brandon Williams get on track here to set the tone here early for Wisconsin in the second half. This is going to be Williams at the 4-yard line. Brandon Williams turns it out to the 22, and let's get a little more from Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, I checked in with Wisconsin's coach, Barry Alvarez, at halftime and asked him what he has to do to get his offense on track here. He said they've got to make some throws. It killed them early in that first quarter when they had those long passes open and just couldn't connect. I asked him how John Stocco's confidence was, and he just kind of nodded his head. Holly, I don't know. Let's just say he needs to make some throws.
It all falls, in a sense, on the shoulders of John Stocco, much less anonymous than he was a season ago, especially in Madison, Wisconsin.
Stocco 4 for 13 in the first half for only 37 yards.
Hands it off to Anthony Davis, bouncing it, has one guy to the edge, and Davis with a nice run out to the 29-yard line. DeMario Winter stared at those numbers and brought him down after a gain of 7.
And Anthony Davis, a lot of injuries these last 2 years at Wisconsin. Had the eye injury early in the season, then a quad injury late in the season. Still has a knee that's lingered all year, and you see that size difference in that huddle. I mean, Anthony Davis is about 5'7", I would say, but a dynamic little player, Mark, when he's healthy.
Education major, and a double major, graduate this month. Studies English. This is Davis again. Davis close to the first down at about the 32-yard line. And an interesting thing about Anthony Davis, which really tells you what his fiber is and what he's made of, is that the time that he was injured last year, during that semester that he was pretty much out, he put up a 4.0 GPA. No, he didn't mail it in.
And it's amazing after a career like he's had. He had 1,466 yards as a freshman, 1,555 as a sophomore. But because he's been injured the last 2 years, had 682 as a junior, 894 this year, his legacy in some ways comes down to this football game. As much as he's done, as productive as he's done, I think he needs to finish it out today with something big.
Line up out of the eye, little play pick this time. Stocco completes it to Davis. And Davis is brought down just shy of the 34, but there's a flag down on the play. David Pollock made the tackle. Boy, Pollock is ubiquitous. You talk about him rushing from one end and making the tackle 7 yards downfield. It's going to be a hold against Wisconsin.
And you mentioned it. I've watched a lot of football players, but this kid, number 47, is relentless. He is a great effort football player. They say in practice, he sprints to every drill. He is always first at everything he does. And really a remarkable story, because when you see him down on the field at field level, he is not the most impressive looking athlete by any stretch of the imagination.
Impressive in the sense that he's the only 3-time All-American at Georgia who's not named Herschel Walker. First down and 20 after the penalty. Deep back out of the offset eye. He ran into Stocco. It's been that type of day for Stocco and Davis. They collided with each other, and Quentin Moses and Odell Thurman made the stop, made it easy for them.
And Pollock, we go back to him. He's one of those guys you really have to watch on tape to truly appreciate. Right here, he's splitting that double team. And Wisconsin, Mark, has enough problems with Georgia as their opponent today. They don't need themselves as their own opponent. They're making some mistakes right now on consecutive plays.
Stocco did the best hit on Davis that time. Second and 26, blitz coming. Thurman with the sack back at the 6. Odell rang Stocco's bell that time. It's going to be 3rd and long.
And you've heard me talk about the NCAA zone blitz with the linebacker 33, Thurman, coming right here. Mark, watch the defensive end, Pollock inside, Thurman outside. Everyone in the country runs that blitz, but you see David Pollock, his quick jump off that football. And Wisconsin flat going backwards right now.
3rd and St. Petersburg to go for the Badgers. Handed off to Anthony Davis. some of it back. But it'll be 3 and out for Wisconsin offensively. After the 13-yard gain, they'll punt on 4th down.
And you can see right there, Anthony Davis is not 100% in this football game.
He's their home run hitter. He's the guy right now, maybe the only guy offensively capable of that home run ball.
And that is the problem in a nutshell for this Wisconsin offense. That's why they cannot self-destruct and make foolish penalties. They have no chance in that scenario.
Bush with the punt, no rush coming, gets off a high spiral, which drives Thomas Flowers back to his 32. Found an alley, made it back out to the 47-yard line. That's a 15-yard return on that 48-yard punt. And a good return by Thomas Flowers. David Green coming back on the field, leading that offense. Played all but 1 or 2 plays in that first half when they brought in his understudy, DJ Shockley, and our Pontiac game-changing performance. Tune into the FedEx Orange Bowl to find out the game-changing performance of the year. Several great plays. One of them went in Wisconsin's favor at Purdue game. Run that time to Thomas Brown. And speaking of some of those game-changing plays and performances, starts with a big hit on Kyle Orton. Came back the other way, and the Wisconsin Badgers ended up winning that game and really sent Purdue into a tailspin for the rest of the season. Wisconsin at one point was ranked as high as number 4 in the nation. And number 4 in the BCS polls. Think about them winning their first 9 games of the season and then losing to Michigan State and then losing subsequently against Iowa.
We have a personal foul, number 74 of the offense, for continuous hands to the face. That's a 15-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
Wow.
That's Max John Giles out of Miami, Florida, junior, 6'4", 341. Another one of those underclassmen projected to be a top round draft choice for Georgia. Bob, that's pretty discouraging when all your good players are leaving a little bit early.
But you know, that's part of coaching at Georgia. That seems to be something they contend with every year, and it's a good, bad situation. At least you got a bunch of talented guys that have that option.
Talented players that make catches like that. Reggie Brown was in the area, but Sean Bailey made the catch that time.
And they say Sean Bailey has a great future at Georgia. Just a young guy. And right here, what you're going to see, this is a quarters beater route where the outside receiver goes inside, the inside receiver goes outside, and they cross those 2 receivers. But Sean Bailey came in with 12 catches for 184 yards, and they expect great things out of him.
Little shuffle pass inside to Brown. Brown has some room. Jim Leonard making the tackle at the 24-yard line. But another first down for the Bulldogs offensively. A pickup of 24 and a huge chunk. Said that he wears number 20 in honor of Barry Sanders, one of the players that he idolized growing up. Well, looked a little bit like Barry that time.
And you see great play calling. Watch right here. You're going to see the little shuffle pass that Utah runs so successfully right now. Excellent play call again, and you see the speed of the freshman back. It's the play fake.
Oh, it's complete. What a rebound catch. Oh, magic on New Year's Day. Touchdown. Thomas. Jeremy Thomas with an education and concentration off the rebound from Brooks. But there's a flag down at the 14.
Pass interference, number 42 of the defense. By rule, that penalty is declined. Touchdown.
The ball took a crazy carom, Bob. Boy, Mark Richt has everything in the playbook, doesn't he?
Wow.
I don't even think the Georgia players believe it still.
Well, you see everybody in this stadium looking up at that replay screen to get a chance to see that one again.
As far as Wisconsin goes, that is a discouraging, disheartening play.
Right here, we're going to get a chance to see this again.
Jeremy Thomas just happened to be there.
A lot of different ways to score. David Green off the play action. Ball is ricocheted right there, and Georgia probably doesn't need a cheap one, but they just got a cheap one. Right here, you're going to see that football ricochet off of Robert Brooks.
Brooks thought he made a great play.
And right into the hands of Jeremy Thomas for the touchdown.
Back with more. Than that all season. You talk about lucky bounces. That is the quintessence of lucky bounces as far as that goes. Jeremy Thomas catching the carom and taking it into the end zone. Zalewski had a chance to bring him down, but I thought Zalewski might have been stunned that the ball was caught.
And Jeremy Thomas, a senior, a transfer from the Air Force Academy. First touchdown reception of his career. And that's not exactly how he dreamed about doing it as a little kid, but he'll take that.
Wisconsin, after going 3 and out on its first offensive possession of the second half, now faced with an even more daunting task. And Bob, something about that 17-6 margin almost feels a little bit bigger if you're Wisconsin.
No question, and the psychological effect of Wisconsin completely struggling on their first offensive drive, then the fluke touchdown. They're going to have to really be tough mentally right here, Wisconsin. And they need something on this kickoff return to get some positive field position.
Brandon Williams. Brought down at the 24, but there's a flag back at the 9-yard line. Williams with a decent return. Badgers so far in the ball game with just 63 total yards of offense to 320 for Georgia. This one's going to come back.
Go back and look at the touchdown. First of all, the ball is thrown to Sean Bailey, the flanker, and Robert Brooks comes in right there, bats the football back. And I agree right here. Zalewski's probably surprising. And right there, Jim Leonard misses a tackle. Scott Starks tries to go low. And Jeremy Thomas gets his first career touchdown. But the missed tackles right there, Zalewski and then Jim Leonard.
Well, it's about time to get it cranked up. Not time to panic, but certainly they've got to get something going offensively. Booker Stanley now in the tailback for Wisconsin. Davis going to watch. Scotto almost had it intercepted. White got a hand on the ball and tipped it away.
Wisconsin
for Williams.
Sorry, Mark. And Wisconsin has everything against them right now. Not only momentum. Everyone's wearing red in this stadium, but you can tell that's all Georgia red right here behind the Wisconsin offense. So you've got great speed and attacking defense, and you've got this crowd right here. So hard to change the snap count right here for John Stockwell.
Down in 10. A lot of Georgia fans in that part of the end zone right now. Booker Stanley giving them a little bit more room out to the 9. Greg Blue making the stop. Let's go down to Holly.
Well, guys, you see Booker Stanley in the game right now for Wisconsin. That's because running back Anthony Davis is having some problems with his contact lenses. He's been back over on the bench for the last 5 minutes trying to get the right contacts in, get some solution in. He's still not comfortable with what's happening with his eyesight, so Booker Stanley is getting a break, giving Anthony Davis a break right now while he gets his contact situation taken care of.
If he's got double vision, Bob, it might be because he's been hit quite a bit and frequently.
Well, a bunch of those white shirts, he probably thinks 22 of them are out there, but this is a key third down right here.
6 to go. He's got to get up to a 15. Stocko fires high. It's up in the air. And incomplete. Oh, that was hanging up there seemingly forever. And Brian Van Gorder, the defensive coordinator, is hotter than July right now. Jennings and Blue almost had a chance for the interception for the Bulldogs, but neither would come up with it. As Wisconsin now 1 of 10 on third down today, and we have a player down in the field.
And Brian Van Gorder goes from the emotion of saying, you know what, we've got an interception right here, but we got 2 guys fighting over it, to almost a completion. As you see Bernstein come in there late. But again, if Wisconsin has to throw it, the ball bounces up in the air. Thomas Davis bats it, and he had two guys right there, Odell Thurman and Greg Blue, battling over that interception. Odell Thurman had one right there.
I'll tell you how bad it was for Wisconsin on this play. The pass from Stocco hit 3 players. None of them were from Wisconsin.
And you see Van Gorder right there. He wanted that interception, but again, he's still upset about that interception. But momentum, field position, everything on the side of Georgia right now.
The Bush punting from the shadows of his own goalpost. 4 yards deep. The Badgers reeling a little bit right now. A low line drive punt. Down to Flowers to 45. Flowers got about 8 on the punt return after the 46-yard punt. And Georgia on Wisconsin's side of midfield. Back with more after this.
ESPN's presentation of the 2005 Outback Bowl. Brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right. And in part by Net Zero high-speed internet access. Only $14.95. Call 877-NET-ZERO or get it at netzero.com. And Sonic. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
The dog days of January. Ugga, what are we, number 6?
That's my guy, Ugga now.
Ugga 7?
His record is 58-18 since he's been the mascot. He's the biggest, heaviest mascot. That guy weighs 64 pounds right there, Ugga.
And the offense muscling up behind David Green for Gibson, incomplete. And Brett Bell was there stride for stride with Freddie Gibson.
The first way you can tell right there. I mean, that is excellent coverage by Brett Bell down the field right there. Brett Bell's a young guy that was picked on late in the season, particularly by Michigan State. That was a heck of a play.
So second down. Ware is brought down at about the 41-yard line. At about 6 on the play.
I'll tell you,
it's a hot day down there in the field.
You know what? This guy's got it pretty good. You take all the Bulldogs across this country. He has an air-conditioned doghouse that travels with him. They've even he's flown first class.
No.
Oh yeah. I mean, this guy, of all the Bulldogs across this country, he's got about as good as you can get.
Setting a new standard. Ralphio going to make some contract with him in Colorado next. 3rd down and 5. Green working out of the shotgun. Hand it on. Ware has the first down and then some. All the way down to the 19-yard line. Danny Ware, the 6'1 freshman, teaming up with Thomas Brown, the other freshman. And a prolific backfield for Mark Richt.
A great play call right here on 3rd down and 5. They come with a little zone play out of the shotgun. That is great blocking. You see the wide receiver from the top of the field does an excellent job. Excellent play call.
1st down and 10 from the 20. Ware once again brought down to the 13. There's a flag down back at the 20-yard line. And Bob, one of the things we talked about and one of the questions that really begged at the beginning of this game was that defensive line for Wisconsin. 4 seniors led by Erasmus James and Antaj Hawthorne. They're going to face questions now after this performance today as to their proficiency. There were whispers perhaps that, you know, they might be a little bit fatigued, might be a little bit tired, might be slightly overrated. They drew a lot of national attention.
The offense and the 10-yard penalty, repeat 1st down.
This is not the way that defensive line wants to go out.
But I think in fairness to this defense, this Wisconsin offense has been so anemic. Right there you see Joe Monty in the game, the backup's defensive end, kind of getting ragdolled right there. But this Wisconsin defense, keep in mind, Wisconsin's offense, 96th in the country in total offense, and you see how anemic they've been. So this Wisconsin defense has been on the field a lot. They got to dig in right here, Marco. This football game's going to be over.
They're not getting much help. Here's Green back to back. Has a man, and and overshot him at the 3-yard line. Sean Bailey got it behind the defense. He had beaten Brett Bell on the play.
We said Michigan State challenged Brett Bell, and you're going to see it at the top. Sean Bailey, a little inside move and then straight up the field. Ball slightly overthrown.
That's up 2nd down and 20 back at the 30-yard line. Thomas Brown now in the ball game in the backfield. Ware on the sideline. 3-receiver formation for the Bulldogs. Oh, Brown with a gaping hole. Touchdown Bulldogs, ready to march.
That was a good call, but it cannot be that easy. That had to be a bust up front by Wisconsin. Somebody did not play their gap because that was a gaping hole.
He wasn't even touched, Bob. I'm talking about the 8th rushing touchdown this season for Brown. A 29-yard scamper. And right now, Georgia looking for that knockout blow, winding up and landing one squarely on the jaw of the Badgers. It's all smiles. The red you see right now is Bulldog red. We'll be right back.
College Game Day, the only pregame show that...
Bulldogs increasing their lead to 24-6 in a spirited-looking offense here.
And Mark, let's look at this. Watkins, the backup linebacker, is in the game. Dante Sanders is out. He has this V gap right here. He simply runs himself out of position. He's really unblocked. And then the running back, Thomas Brown, is untouched. But you talk about team defense, everybody taking care of their responsibility. But keep in mind, there's Dante Sanders on the sideline. He's been out since early in the football game. And Watkins right here, 24, just turned his gap loose.
Paid the price, ultimately giving up the touchdown. And boy, the freshman Brown with an impressive burst into the end zone. It's going to make him feel better after losing a fumble earlier in the first quarter. 6.5 minutes to go. Wisconsin, daunting challenge ahead. Williams might have been better off letting that one go out of bounds. They'd have gotten the ball from the 35-yard line instead. They're going to take over at the 12. And boy, John Stocco has to get something going here. Join ESPN2 next week for Bass Saturday. 4.5 hours of weekly competition, following the tournament trail, learning from the best, debating the biggest topics and highlights from all the rod bending. Bass Center opens the block each Saturday at 7 a.m. Eastern, followed by 2 loudmouth bass hosts. Did he be called? We've been called something like that. Loudmouth bass.
Loudmouth. Just eliminate the bass part of it. But I tell you what, John Stocco right now, it is all coming downhill to him, Mark. He's got a talented Georgia defense. He's got those Georgia fans right behind him, and he doesn't have much confidence.
Here's Williams. Going side to side and brought down to the 13-yard line. Odell Thurman ran him down. It shows you something about the speed of Georgia.
They run. There is no question about it. And they are a talented football team. Mark, they have 81 scholarship players. 64 of those players are from the state of Georgia. And they're second in the SEC in total number of NFL players with 36. And the SEC has more NFL players than any other conference.
2nd down and 9. Anthony Davis back in the ballgame for the Wisconsin Badgers. Had a problem with a contact, as we're told by Holly Rowe a few moments ago. And who was that to? Good pressure, though, by Odell Thurman, who put Stocco on his back.
And Wisconsin has seen this particular blitz all season. It should not be this easy. The defense is in it. It's going to go inside. Thurman's coming outside, and the outside linebacker outside here. This is a common blitz, Mark. Wisconsin right now got to fight. They're on the verge of losing 3 straight football games and just collapsing here late in the season.
Not the way you want to go out. Stocco missing on his last 6 attempts. 3rd and 9. Complete to Darren Charles for the first down at the 33-yard line. That's the goodest ball as he has thrown all day. A pickup of 20 yards. He beat Demario Winter on the play.
And I think a great call by Brian White of just going to the three-step drop, getting that ball out of there quickly for two reasons. Georgia can't pressure John Stocco, and John Stocco doesn't have much time to think about it. Just get it and let it rip.
John Stocco, a first-year starter, just a sophomore, playing for perhaps more than this game. There's next year to think about, and whether Barry Alvarez decides to maybe open that job up a little bit.
You are exactly right with that.
First down and 10. Look at the anemic offense. Owen Daniels trying to bring it to life with some potency down to the 35. In behind Thomas Davis, and it's first and 10 for Wisconsin.
What the NFL scouts, I'm sure, want to see. Can Thomas Davis play coverage? And right here, it's going to be Thomas Davis matched up on a tight end, Owen Daniels. Watch right here, down the field. He's playing outside leverage. No help inside. Good play call right there. But one of the things you want to see, Thomas Davis, can he cover a tight end? He's not going to have to cover wide receivers, but can he cover a tight end?
And that was Daniels' first catch of the day for 30 yards. Anthony Davis getting a little wiggle on, making some moves down to the 28. Now this Badger offense coming alive a little bit down to the 27-yard line. Anthony Davis, the second leading rusher in school history.
And right here, you watch Anthony Davis late in this run change hands with this football. Right there, a little bit dangerous when you're in traffic like that, but he got away with it. But how big was that third down conversion from John Stocco to Darren Charles? A little bit of life into this Badger offense.
They need some kind of score to get back into this game. Time winding down in the middle of the third quarter.
You got to think play action right here, don't you, on 2nd and 1?
That's what they run. Williams got the first down out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Brandon Williams with a little bounce to his giddy up now. A pickup of 6 on the play. First down and 10 for Wisconsin. This is the best looking drive of the day for them. It comes with about 4 minutes to go in the third period.
Keep in mind, Wisconsin late in the season, a 9-0 football team. Most people talking about a lock to be in a BCS bowl game. Lost their last 2 games to Michigan State and Iowa. Got a little fight left in that Badger tank.
The Badger Nation in the stands squarely behind them. A lot of them have made the trip from Madison. We'll be back with more after this. Oh, no doubt. No wind coming off of Lake Mendota right now. Stocco 3 of 4 for 56 yards on this drive. First and 10 from the 22. Davis got across the 20 to the 19. 3 yards on first down. Sets up about 2nd down and 7. Anthony Davis going to graduate with a double major. One of them in African-American studies. Enjoys getting into the community, does substitute teaching once a week.
Again, we look at Pollock. I think the thing he does great, obviously his effort. He's like a bull in a china closet, but he plays with his hands so well. A little bit nicked up. One thing, if you're a Georgia fan, if you see this guy down, you know he's hurt. He's not one of those guys that's going to go down unless he really is hurt.
He's got a big future coming up, a bright future in the NFL. And Bob, I'm told that he has spring wedding plans, a date with his fiancée, Lindsey Hopkins.
And really, probably the most publicized player at Georgia since Herschel Walker. And this guy does not read the newspaper because he doesn't want to get too carried away with himself. Right there you see the knee bang on the left knee of David Pollock right there. So hopefully it didn't look to be real serious. But this guy doesn't read the newspaper. The only thing he does, he watches sports.
Does a lot of working out. Here's Stocco into the end zone. Touchdown, Darren Charles. They throw it up for grabs on the shorter Winter. Darren Charles with his 3rd touchdown catch this season.
And the senior at 6'6", 215 pounds, 83 career catches, goes up and makes a play, and Wisconsin shows some fight late here in the 3rd quarter.
Plenty of time to go, and when they needed to respond, they did. Wisconsin snapping that 21-0 run.
And at some point, it does come down to the simplest elements. That's 6'6" against 5'11". And the 6'6" guys showed a little strength right there, wrestling that ball away.
Stocco sticking it to the Bulldogs. Still up in it. We'll be back with more after this. The 3rd quarter with 3:16 to go in the Outback Bowl. Georgia leading 24-13, but John Stocco, the former draft pick of the Minnesota Twins in baseball, was pitching nothing but strikes on that last drive.
And that drive reminds you of the game-winning drive he had at Purdue back in November when it looked like John Stocco was out of gas. He is a pretty resilient young guy now. I mean, he comes up and makes some plays sometimes when you don't expect it.
All off with the kickoff. Are we going to get a touchback or out of bounds at the 1?
Looked like
Tyson Brown
at the 1.
Tyson Browning fielded that ball very close to the sideline.
We're going to get a look at it. This is going to be a key decision right here.
Out of bounds in the end zone.
Yeah.
He was out of bounds in the end zone.
This is a difficult decision right here for the referees.
Oh, look like they're going to spot it. Maybe not. His right foot looked like it's...
But the foot doesn't matter.
Caught by the receiver. He stepped out of bounds. It's his ball at the furthest most point when the ball was out of bounds. First down at the 1-foot line.
Wow. Say that again. Give me that again. I don't think it matters where his foot is. It's where is the football. Let's look closely right here.
Doesn't have it yet. Now
but look at the football, Mark. The football has not crossed that plane, and he steps out. In other words, when you down a punt, your feet are allowed to be in the end zone, and as long as that football does not cross the plane of that goal line, you can down that punt in the field of play.
All right, and DJ Shockley now in at quarterback for the Bulldogs. Hands it off, but there's a flag down in the end zone, and we're going to have some premature motion against Georgia. Don't think you can move it back any further.
And interesting that Mark Richt would change quarterbacks right now in this situation with DJ Shockley.
What do you make of that move, Bob?
He has a lot of confidence in this quarterback.
Snap. That penalty is refused. Second down.
Backed up this far.
The point of that, though, Mark, he is going to probably run that football, and Shockley gives him an advantage, but you have to question changing quarterbacks right now in this situation.
Over 3 minutes to go in the period. Shockley's going to pass it out of the end zone. Now decides to run. There you go. And a good decision. He got the first down. There might have been a face mask, too. It was not called. A 14-yard pickup, and Mark Richt is hot now. So emotion stirring now in the game.
And you see why Mark Richt did it. Nothing open. DJ Shockley takes off, but I don't like the way he's swinging this football around. Right there, he better protect that ball and get it tighter to his body. But Georgia gets themselves out of the shadow of that end zone.
Georgia outgaining Wisconsin on the ground today. Shockley going to try and add to that discrepancy. Weaving beyond the 20 to the 22-yard line. Got about 5 on the play.
and this is the quarterback of the future for Georgia. I'm talking about DJ Shockley, one of the most highly recruited players in the nation. Mark Richt, when he first came to Georgia from Florida State, told this guy, you're going to be the next Charlie Ward. You're going to be my guy in the spread offense. David Green becomes the starter. He thinks about transferring. You got to give DJ Shockley credit for hanging in there at Georgia and waiting for his turn next year.
The son of a high school coach, last 2 semesters in the classroom, he's at a 3.6 and a 3.7. And looking for a 4.0 here. Incomplete. Intended for Reggie Brown. Let's go back to Reese.
All right, Mark, in the Gator Bowl, Florida State and West Virginia Mountaineers had already missed a couple of extra points. This is a field goal attempt, and Rich Rodriguez goes for the fake against the Seminoles, and it does not work. Georgia Shell, the holder, snuffed out FSU by a single. Tennessee continuing to lay it on the Aggies in the fourth.
Ouch. All right, Reese, it's 3rd and 5 back here. If there was ever a time for the Badger defense to make a move, this would be it.
And ever a time for DJ Shockley to take off and run with that football.
He passes it, tipped up and incomplete. So it'll be 4th down, punting situation for the Bulldogs. It was tipped up by Watkins on the play. And Wisconsin is going to get the ball back.
3rd down and 5. DJ Shockley, the ball batted right there by Lamar Watkins. And now the story becomes this backup deep snapper, Joe Terashinsky, the backup quarterback, starting center, Brian Jordan, injured in practice this week. A lot of pressure on this guy right now, Mark.
Also has shanked one already today for just 15 yards. It's off a high one. Jimmy Leonard fields it at the 43. So the Badgers and John Stocco will have good field position here after that 36-yard punt. Stocco was 4 for 5 on that last touchdown scoring drive for Barry Alvarez. Winning as head coach in Wisconsin Badger history, the only coach to go back-to-back in the Rose Bowl and win it.
And everybody in this stadium senses some momentum changing right now in the favor of Wisconsin.
Passing the ball, it was Owen Daniels and Darren Charles. Those were the 2 favorite targets of Stocco on the last drive. See if Anthony Davis can get it cracked up again. That's Williams in motion. Stocco had the time, and Charles got tackled downfield, but it's caught by Brandon Williams. So now Wisconsin catches a break. All the way down to the 19-yard line.
And how about the pass protection by Wisconsin, because John Stocco had all day. It looked like Georgia jumped off sides right there. It wasn't called. And now Darren Charles on the deep crossing route against Minner again. And you're right, that was pass interference right there. But great pass protection and amazing, Mark, how momentum changes in a football game.
The Badgers making a move in the red zone at the 19-yard line. Anthony Davis, the deep back out of the eye. It's Davis. Brought down after a gain of about 1 by number 45, Jarvis Jackson. Starting weak side linebacker for the Bulldogs with under a minute to play now in the 3rd quarter. Owen Daniels coming back into the ball game along with Williams and Charles. 3 big weapons for Wisconsin, as big as they have.
And you do see the potential that John Stocco has. It's amazing. You can read his body language with how he's feeling as far as confidence is concerned. And right now he has some confidence, which means Wisconsin is still in this football game.
Little blitz coming. Stocco. And one of his receivers broke off a pattern. Brandon White didn't go into the end zone. And Owen Daniels, meanwhile, in the vicinity as well.
And one thing I noticed, Mark, about John Stocco, he throws the football falling back a lot. As we look right here, never really sets his feet and steps up he gets nervous back there. If you notice that, he never plants that back foot and just steps up and steps into the throw.
22 seconds to go now. Daniels comes back out, as does White.
Keep in mind, a field goal would make this an 8-point game, so don't turn it over right here, John Stocco.
3rd and 10. Sack from behind. Who else? Pollock at the 19-yard line. Sooner or later, the irrepressible force of David Pollock was going to come through and make a move.
And isn't that exactly how John Pollock does things? Relentless. He's going to get double teamed. They kept the tight end in. They have the running back, Anthony Davis. He just flat ran over Anthony Davis. But if you're Wisconsin, you had the tight end and the back on David Pollock. And that is a great, great effort by a guy that's nicked up in this football game.
Well, he has a cut on his eye, a bloodied lip. But in the immortal words of Rocky, he turned to his medical staff and said, "Cut me, Mick." Earlier, it was a fluke touchdown by Thomas. Late, though, it was Darren Charles. We got a ball game back after this. Badgers offense getting in rhythm, in sync, catching the right beat in field goal range. And right now, it's going to be Mike Allen attempting a field goal from some 37 yards out. All right, cut the lead to just 8 points.
Said it, Mark. Obviously, this is big because a touchdown and a 2-point conversion would tie this game if he could make this. You got to be proud of Mike Allen. 2 for 2 today. Bounce back from a tough end to the regular season.
10-15 career from this distance, and oh my, he threw that one to the right. An egregious, severe miss by Mike Allen. And he wasn't even close on that. So John Stocco watches a drive die with the 37-yard field goal attempt. This is an offense right now in the type of day where they can't afford many more blown opportunities, if any.
Yeah, I'm not even sure Kick Track could get that one on the meter right there. That might have been outside of the meter. The snap was good, the hold was good, and he just pushed it to the right.
He knew it right away. You know what? I think you're right, Bob. He missed it so badly that we don't think Kick Track can get that one. That was off the Kick Track radar screen.
Exactly.
Well, coming back the other way, it's Green from the 20. Play fake. Tons of time, but incomplete. Intended for Sean Bailey. It'll be second down and 10. He had Richie Brown running down the other flank.
The 42, Robert Brooks on the coverage.
Mark Richt has done a tremendous job at Georgia. We said he's in his 4th year, finishing his 4th year. He's 41-10 as a head coach, and he really does things a little bit differently. Mark, we'll talk about that in a little bit. You know, they don't start their staff meetings until 8:30, and there's a reason for that. Once his coaches spend time with their families, get their children off to school.
Thomas Brown on the carry gains a couple of yards. And Bob, it's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? And that you talk about the start time. They have a moment of devotion and inspiration by the coaching staff. Each coach catches a turn to say his own bit throughout the course of the year.
It really is different. He calls it a devotional. Every staff meeting starts off with a different coach who knows it's coming because it's organized, a chance to just have his say and speak about what's on his mind. And he's done a great job. When Vince Dooley hired him, the only question he had, was he tough enough? And I think he's proven that he is.
That record certainly has. Here's the screen pass to the backside to Bailey. Bailey will be brought down just shy of the 25 by Brett Bell. So it'll be 4th down. Actually counts as a running play. It was thrown backwards.
And we talk about Mark Richt. Is he tough enough? They've had some problems at Georgia. Last year they started the season. They had 8 players suspended for their opening game. This year, 4 players suspended, so they've had some issues. The huge issue was players selling their SEC championship rings last year. So they've had some off-the-field problems, but he's won a bunch of football games.
4th down and 6. Not a great effort. Jim Leonard feels it on the fly. On Georgia's side of midfield, Leonard with a nice return down to the 45. So once again, the Badgers with good starting field position and a late flag at the 35-yard line. We've seen 3 of those today, a 29-yard punt, 8 on the return, and a personal foul against the Bulldogs. So ball moves further into Georgia territory to about maybe the 25 after they finish spotting this one.
And we were just talking about discipline.
We have a dead ball foul, personal foul on number 17 of the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
That one was 10 yards away from the action and probably 2 seconds after the whistle had blown. And Wisconsin's defense allows them to get the football back basically where they had the football at the end of the last series, Mark.
Series that ended with a missed field goal. Well, a great opportunity to make amendments for them. Brandon Williams split wide to the top of your screen. Jonathan Orr split to the bottom of your screen. A tall, lanky, speedy receiver. John Stocco. Back to pass. Had it batted down to the line of scrimmage by Odell Thurman. Odell O'Myers.
Mark, I know that you are a fan of the New Year's Day hoops. Dick Vitale is in the house. Georgia Tech and Kansas. The tip-off is going to be at 2:38 Eastern Time. We will start the game over on ESPN2. Have some fun, Dick.
All right. Oh, Dick, I wonder if they'll pass him up at Fog Allen Fieldhouse there, as long as they catch him. The game coming up, 2nd down and 10 for John Stocco.
Georgia in man-to-man coverage right here.
Stocco tripped and fell. Wasn't even able to hand the ball off. It'll be marked back at the 35. But that's the 2nd time we've seen him collide in the backfield with one of his running backs.
And we talk about how talented this Georgia team is with personnel. Think of all the times today where Wisconsin has made mistakes that had nothing to do with the talent level of Georgia. They just missed a chip shot field goal the series before. These issues really bother you with the coach because talent is no factor. It's all on your own execution.
3rd and 14. Stepped on the center's foot. Donovan Raiola. Daniels in motion. Pressure coming. Stocco sacked and fumbled. Bulldogs have it at the 34. Thomas Davis made the hit. Jarvis Jackson made the recovery. Just as you said, Bob, self-inflicted wounds by Wisconsin.
And again, we're going to see Thomas Davis, the safety. Watch him right here, coming from the bottom. Anthony Davis, if you want to play in the NFL, you had better pass block. That's the 2nd time we've seen him just picked up and thrown into the quarterback. I mean, if you're not going to block him, chop him. Don't let him just run you over like that.
Bob, in fairness to Davis, though, that's a heck of a talent.
Yeah, but Mark, come on now. Come on. I mean, at some point, chop the kid. That's uncalled for a 5th-year player, the caliber of Anthony Davis, to let that happen.
Freddie Gibson in motion. Wisconsin blowing another opportunity. Bulldogs and Thomas Brown run it out to the 35-yard line. There is a lot of talent on that side of the field, on both teams, actually. But, boy, Georgia with some physical specimens. Jarvis Jackson right there, who recovered the fumble. And what of the Wisconsin Badgers now? They do not want to end this season losing 3 consecutive games. Their defense needs to come up with a big play. 2nd and 9. Gibson split wide to the top of your screen. Rasmus James has yet to register a sack. That's Brown again out to the 35. Tackle made by Jason Jefferson. 3rd and long, about 9 to go.
Give credit to this Wisconsin defense. They've had a season of trying to hang in there over and over when their offense has struggled. This is another big 3rd down. The nickelback Chucky Collins, number 4, in the game.
Georgia 6 of 14 on 3rd down today. Green almost picked off. That should have been picked by Zalewski. And that's the type of play they need to make.
And you are exactly right. Wisconsin has not been without chances. And I know you're a linebacker for a reason, but Mark Zalewski, I know you have better hands than that.
And don't forget that the basketball game scheduled at 3:30, now being moved to ESPN2. Georgia Tech against Kansas. Kansas undefeated on the season so far. That's going to be a great run coming up.
Georgia has struggled in the kicking game really all season. Keep in mind, Jimmy Leonard, the all-time Big Ten leader in punt returns back deep for Wisconsin.
High spiral. He has 3 returns for touchdown in his career. Good spin move to get away. Jimmy Leonard still on the move. An outstanding effort by the senior from Tony, Wisconsin. A former walk-on turned All-American. He has really made himself a player. Coming up with a big move for the Badgers. A 20-yard punt return. They need more of that when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Raymond James Stadium here in Tampa, Florida, for the 18th edition of the Outback Bowl. Number 7, Georgia leading Wisconsin 24-13. I'm Mark Jones, along with Bob Davie and Holly Rowe down in the field. From all of us at ESPN, a happy new year to all of you. For Wisconsin, the story of the game so far has been missed opportunities. Unable to take advantage of miscues by Georgia. Stocka going to Jonathan Orr. Incomplete. That's pass interference. No flag. DeMario Minter, Bob, was there with Orr seemingly wrestling his way down the sidelines.
Mark, I'll be anxious to look at this again. Obviously, Barry Alvarez isn't real upset, but right here, I thought DeMario Minter pushed and kept Jonathan Orr from coming back to that football. Maybe not as bad as I thought, but it's all on John Stocko right now because Wisconsin with 39 yards rushing on 29 carries in this football game.
Yeah, just 190 total yards of offense. Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis with a burst, and Anthony Davis comes alive. Down to the 31-yard line, first down Wisconsin. His best run of the day coming right there.
And all I had to do was say it's on John Stocko, and they cannot run the football. They come with the ISO draw on 2nd down and 10. And watch the big fullback, Bernstein, as the lead blocker right here at 260 pounds. Does a great job of adjusting right there, and Anthony Davis makes the safety miss. He beat Thomas Davis in the open field, Mark.
With that run, Bob, Davis moving into 5th place in the Big Ten career rushing list. And that pickup of 25. 1st and 10, Stocko out of the shotgun looking for the screen. It's Davis. Brought down to 31. Let's go back to Reese.
All right, Mark, at the bottom of the hour on this New Year's Day, some of you might be tuning in to see Georgia Tech and Kansas play basketball at Fog Allen Fieldhouse with the Outback Bowl running a little long. We're going to start Georgia Tech and Kansas over on ESPN2 at 2:35 Eastern Time. As soon as we're done with the Outback Bowl, we'll switch the basketball game back to ESPN.
All right, Reese. Bob, I know you appreciate good defense. That Georgia Tech team limiting their opponents to 38% field goal percentage from the field. You can coordinate that kind of defense.
You're kind of getting into your basketball mode because after this game, it's all basketball for you.
2nd down and 9. Anthony Davis on the draw. Davis down to the 28-yard line. Brought down by Golston on the play.
You have to think right now, Mark, on 3rd down and about 7. This is 4-down territory. I don't think Barry Alvarez will try another field goal after he missed the last one. And I think that's the reason he came back with that ISO draw on 2nd down there. So 2 downs to make 7 yards right here if you're Brian White, the offensive coordinator.
Brandon Williams is split to the top of your screen. Jonathan Orr to the bottom.
Maybe on Jonathan Orr on a crossing route right here.
Stocko complete to Daniels for the 1st down and then some at the 16-yard line. It's 1st and 10. A pickup of 13 for the guy that they've game planned to for most of the year, Owen Daniel. Time now for our Outback Steakhouse game track. One of the plays that might be a game-changing performance if it's not already too late. And then this one by Brown. A nice scamper, but Wisconsin rallied. Stocco went 4 for 5 on this drive. Passed it to Darren Charles for the touchdown. And right now it's 24-13. Posiak in motion. Give it to Davis. Brought down at the 13 by Derek White.
Watching tape the other night, I couldn't take my eyes off Pollock because all he does is fight. And right here, great spin move, good effort getting to the football. This guy really is fun to watch, and he is relentless.
Great inspiration to his teammates who see how hard he practices and see what goods can come your way when you work that hard consistently. 2nd down and 8. Backfield, Davis has a couple of blockers in front of him. And Davis got rocked by Odell
Odell Thurman is putting on a show here. And watching tape of him, I said the analogy, he's a tailback playing linebacker. Watch him close right here. He was a tailback in high school, and he is explosive. That is a lick right there. There's some athletes on this football field.
Yes. 3rd down and 3. Thurman coming on.
And again, I think it's 4-down territory.
Gotta think that way. Give it to Bernstein, the fullback. Wowing his way down to the 6.
The ball carrier, number 45.
Sure that he got the first down. That's his first carry of the day. He was shaken up in their last game of the regular season. Matt Bernstein was. He's from Scarsdale, New York. Hurt his knee against Iowa.
I think you're going to give it to Bernstein again right here, Barry.
4th down. This might be it for Wisconsin.
I wouldn't waste a lot of time right here if I'm Barry Alvarez. Go ahead and give that ball to Bernstein.
Georgia Tech and Kansas coming up on ESPN2. Tip time at about 2:30 Eastern.
I think they're going to quarterback sneak.
With a motion up front, Davis gets the carry. And Davis may have gotten the first down to the 5.
Well, I was over 2 on predictions right there from Bernstein to quarterback sneak, but they made the first down. Kind of an interesting call right there, but Wisconsin stays alive in this football game.
They need 2 scores.
Kind of a neat little cut right here by Anthony Davis. Again, Bernstein, the lead blocker, and right here he jumps up into that crease, almost holding right there. They were holding David Pollock a little bit on that play.
And Brian White up top, the Wisconsin offensive coordinator. Williams in motion, play fake, and Pollock got Stocco back at the 15. He came off the edge. And it's Georgia ball. Houdini's in the house.
Georgia possession.
Not only did he get the sack, he wrested the ball from Stocco.
And I don't think it's fair for Morgan Davis, the right offensive tackle. Watch him jump off this football. It's over right now. Caused fumble and recovered fumble. That is a big-time play right here.
In one fell swoop, Bob, he took the ball from Stocco, and it's Georgia ball at the 15. Wow.
Morgan Davis looked like he expected help from the tight end.
Reese Davis, what a play by Paul Beck.
And I thought I had something for you, Mark, but this isn't bad. Capital One Bowl, Iowa, LSU, and the Hawkeyes. Miguel Merrick blocking the punch. John Considine takes it in for the touchdown, so LSU just wants to get to the locker room. And apparently, Ali Broussard wants to get there in a hurry. Under a minute to go, he goes 74 yards. That's just 16 yards short of how many yards Iowa gives up in a whole game this season rushing.
Reese and Iowa with an edge there. Big Ten getting it done in that game, but not in this one. Pass complete to the fullback, Des Williams. Brought down shy of the 20-yard line. Got about 7 yards to go for the first down. There's the two participants in that last significant play a few moments ago. Pollock made the sack on Stocco, who's on the left, and Pollock came up with the fumble recovery, the strip.
Always has a smile on his face. Pollock loves playing the game.
Don't forget Georgia Tech, Kansas, currently on ESPN2. Kicking off right about now. Eric Miles going up against Jared Jack. Great point guard battle there. Screen pass picked off. Touchdown Badgers. They're not ready to go home yet. Hooks.
Came into this game with 2 interceptions for the year. Now he has 4 interceptions, and you would never expect that from a quarterback with this much experience as David Green.
Bob, in the last 2 minutes, we have seen 2 incredible defensive plays.
And now Wisconsin, Mark, will go for 2 to make this a 3-point ball game. How big was that missed field goal earlier by Wisconsin? But what a spectacular play by the freshman, Andy Crooks.
We're going to go for 2, as you said. Empty formation, 5 receivers. Got it, and it's a 3-point game. The son of a minister with the catch.
I don't think those people are going to that Georgia Tech basketball game right now. Stay right here. John Stocco on the 2-point play throws a bullet. And how did that ball get through Greg Blue? Jonathan Orr, who the coaches question his hands, makes an unbelievable play. Here's the touchdown. First watch Thomas Brown hold right here. Then the screen pass, and Andy Crooks. That's pretty good hands by a freshman linebacker.
And Wisconsin alive and well. To Kenosha and all points in between and around the state of Wisconsin and down to Tampa. You can feel that Badger vibe coming alive. They have stormed back now to within a field goal of Georgia.
And Barry's broken foot feels a little bit better over there on that sidelines. And what a turn of events led by Wisconsin's defense.
Another short kickoff down to the 11. This is Browning. Up the sideline and a nice return out to the 40-yard line, so it's going to be up to the defense.
In the open, we talked about great defenses being on stage today. You see David Pollock, sack, cause fumble, recovered fumble. The very next series, we didn't talk about Andy Crooks, the true freshman linebacker, but he's part of this Wisconsin defense. And defensive football, you can score points, too, on defense, Mark. There's no rule against that.
We see that, Professor. Thomas Brown in the backfield, the deep back out of the eye. Green on a play fake. Complete to Freddie Gibson. Holly Rowe, what do you have for us?
Well, guys, it's pretty unusual to have your birthday on January 1st and be a New Year's baby. But how about Andy Crooks? Today is his birthday. He just turned 19 years old today. And what a better way to celebrate it than an interception return for a touchdown. He's only started 5 games this year. He's had some great experience as a true freshman. But, guys, how about that on his birthday? Happy birthday, Andy Crooks.
And particularly when you think about David Green, a 5th-year senior that's probably 23 years old. What a contrast between those two guys. One guy starting, one guy leaving.
Hand it off once again to Brown. Bounces it outside. We got the first down into Wisconsin territory at the 39-yard line. Interesting, Bob, that we would see Pollock make a stamp on this game. Still kind of waiting to hear from Erasmus James a little bit defensively.
great point, and I think credit Georgia and Mark Richt being redundant, but the cadence changing the snap count and the way they call plays. Play action, draws, some screens. They keep you off balance, this Georgia offense.
First down and 10. 3:40 to go. James with just 2 tackles today. But there's a lot of factors that go into that. Brown. Oh, what a move on Leonard. Another first down for Brown at the 24 of Wisconsin. So Georgia now seizing back that momentum after a 14-yard pickup by Brown.
And you can see why they love this running back. First of all, watch him break the tackle of Jason Jefferson right there. Now into the open field. He shows his quickness, and he broke Jim Leonard down. This running back's going to be a star. He broke his leg his senior year in high school. Georgia had already committed to him. He's the only running back they signed. They did not offer a scholarship to Darius Walker, the talented running back that went to Notre Dame out of Georgia. This was their guy, and they stayed with him, even though he broke his leg his senior year.
Pound for pound, the strongest player on that Georgia team. He gets the carry again. Brown plowing forward inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. His father says that he was so much shorter than everybody else during rec ball as a child growing up that he would cry because he wasn't growing as fast as everyone else. But he got over it, Bob, when he got those results on the field a little bit older.
And he doesn't look like a guy that benches 400 pounds and squats 525. Now watch right here at the end of this run. You're going to see some power. Watch him right here. Boom! He takes Jimmy Leonard again and puts him on his back. But he's not that real thick lower body for a guy that squats 500 pounds. But you see the explosiveness right there, don't you?
He's got it. Jim Leonard knows it too. A great athlete in his own right. Second down and 5. Brown again, this time chopped behind the line of scrimmage. Knifing through the defense was Brett Bell, who caught Brown right at or perhaps behind the line of scrimmage. They've got about 6 yards to go for the first down. Under
Great
2
use
minutes
of
to go.
timeout, Mark, excuse me, by Wisconsin to stop that clock.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
2005 Outback Bowl, brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right. And in part by Energizer. Keep going. And Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard.
I tell you, it's so hot in the field, that cheese might start melting soon, Bob. 3rd and 6.
And keep in mind, Georgia on a 3rd and 6 earlier in the game ran the football with Thomas Brown. If they run the ball, that'll force Wisconsin to use their last timeout.
It's Brown again. Made 1 Wisconsin tackle miss and 2. Oh, what an effort by Brown. He may have lunged his way to the first down. He broke 2 different tackles. The last one of Jim Leonard. And depending on the spot, he might have it.
And that was a great effort by the freshman tailback. Good plan to run the football right there. Wisconsin only with 1 timeout.
According to our 1st and 10 line, he appears to be a little bit short. If that's the case, Bob, you almost have to kick the field goal, don't you?
And first of all, if he is short, Wisconsin will call timeout right away. Georgia will kick the field goal, and Wisconsin will get the ball back and need a touchdown to tie.
With 1:38 to go.
Keep in mind, if they do line up with their offense in the game, David Green with cadence does a great job of drawing the defense offside. I think David Green will try to draw Wisconsin offside, Mark, after this timeout.
Wisconsin now with no timeouts remaining, and Georgia with all 3 of their complement of timeouts remaining.
Here's what I'm thinking if I'm Mark Richt. Probably kick the field goal right here, but I do have a young kicker that's only tried 2 attempts this year. So I've struggled a little bit in the kicking game. On the other hand, Wisconsin now out of timeout. So if I can kick the field goal and make the field goal, I'm going to force Wisconsin to go the length of the field and score a touchdown to win this game.
Don't forget that the great views today, guys, are being provided by the Outback Steakhouse airship, the Bloomin' Onion 1. Captain Mitch Johnson is at the controls of this, and it wouldn't be an Outback Bowl without the Bloomin' Onion high above. And what an absolutely riveting game this has turned out to be. What a finish as a couple of 9-2 teams. This might be the most evenly matched Outback Bowl in the history, 18-year history of the event.
And Georgia 10 of 13 on the season on 4th downs. But here's who it's really tough on, Wisconsin's defense, because when it's 4th and a foot, they got to dig in and they have to come off that football on the snap. But in the back of their mind, they've just been told, don't jump off sides, because David Green may come up and try to hut you. And an offside penalty, the game's over. So if you're defensive lineman right now, it is tough.
Now Georgia calls a timeout. They have 2 remaining. Brett Bielema was coming onto the field, the Wisconsin defensive coordinator there. And this is a defensive front for the Badgers that are all seniors. Jefferson, Hawthorne, Welsh, and James all playing their final game in a Badger uniform.
And if you're Mark Richt, you see why this is such a difficult call. And I think it's a great job by him to call timeout. He may be calling Vince Dooley up in the press box up there and saying, Vince, you've been around football a long time. You've hired me. You're a long way from the action. What do you think?
Mark Richt, a tremendous offensive mind. And don't forget, those of you who have tuned in to watch Kansas against Georgia Tech, you can turn over to ESPN2 and watch that game that is just getting underway right now. And right now, Georgia Tech leading 10-4. Kansas undefeated on the season. With 1:38 to play right here, though, Georgia has the ball. It's 4th down and about 12 inches to go. And if there was ever a time for Rasmus James to make a big play, it would be now.
And these are 2 300-pound defensive linemen in here. I hut it and try to draw Wisconsin offsides right here.
And give it to Brown. He got the 1st down. Stepped out of bounds at about the 5. With just 1:33 to go, the Badgers are out of timeouts. It's 1st and goal for Georgia.
And I guess that's why I'm up here with you. Because
nobody said coaching was easy.
I give Mark Richt credit. And how about the freshman tailback at 5'8", hitting it up in there? And this ball game is over right now. Georgia's just going to take a knee. Wisconsin out of timeouts. Georgia wins 10 football games for the 3rd time in Mark Richt's 4 years.
And for Brown, the 3rd 100-yard rushing game this season for him. Just a freshman, albeit a precocious and talented one. 111 yards total rushing on 17 carries as the clock will undoubtedly wind down now. The Badgers helplessly looking on, unable to stop it, and Pollock has played his last game in a Georgia uniform, and what a career he's had in Athens. A 3-time All-American, had one of the big plays, one of the indelible plays of this game when he sacked John Stocco, the quarterback of the Badgers. Not only did he sack him, he came up with the fumble recovery. He stripped Stocco of the ball.
And recruiting starts tomorrow for these coaches on both teams. And Mark Richt, it's a lot easier and a lot more fun when you win your bowl game.
So the second meeting between Wisconsin and Georgia, like the first one before it, goes to the Bulldogs, albeit this one much closer. The previous verdict was 33-6 in favor of Georgia. This one goes down in the books as a 24-21 victory for Georgia. And today's Capital One player of the game is David Pollock. 4 tackles, 3 sacks, adding to his total. And what a career he's had.
And Mark, this is our last game. I've enjoyed it. You are the best.
Likewise, my man. Wonderful to work with you. Happy New Year to you and your family, and also to Holly Rowe down on the field, who did another outstanding job. The final score, 24-21. There's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Bob and Holly, the rest of the gang, I'm Mark Jones. Happy New Year from Tampa right now to Lawrence, Kansas, Dan Schulman. Dan?